Beat me in St. Louis was the sad refrain on a sad Friday night as the Yankees stumbled through an embarrassing loss that so riled up the captain that he was visibly annoyed. But Derek Jeter took matters into his own hands yesterday, smashing a clutch two-run single to provide some breathing room to a team that's been choking for air. Randy Johnson did the rest. The big unit came up huge with blistering fastballs and nasty biting sliders that finally brought laughter to a hellish road trip. Today, Carl Pavano could send his team home feeling a bit better about life. Yankees Cardinals next on Yes. On another hot, sweltering St. Louis afternoon, the fans are out in force to see the Yankees and the Cards, and they will fill this ballpark for the third straight day for these two teams. And this afternoon, the Yes Network presents New York Yankees baseball. The New York Yankees take on the St. Louis Cardinals in the rubber game of a three-game interleague set from Busch Stadium in St. Louis, Missouri. Hi, everybody, and welcome to Yankees baseball. Along with David Justice, I'm Michael Kay. Yankees are feeling a lot better today than they did yesterday. Friday's loss was awful. Yesterday, a completely different story. They win 5-0. Right in the middle of it was the captain, Derek Jeter. He was so upset after Friday, but he turned it on and was a big part of yesterday's win.
Well, you could see the frustration on his face on Friday. I mean, to him, that was embarrassing. It was unacceptable. And as a captain, he shows his emotions. He's accustomed to winning. He has not been in this type of situation before. But yesterday, he comes up with a big two-run single, and you can see the emotion here as he slides into second base. He's trying to fire up this ball club.
And this is what a captain is supposed to do, David. You know, you want players not to air their laundry in public, but he came out and said after Friday's loss he wasn't happy, and that's okay.
Yeah, it's absolutely. It's okay because whether the team's playing good or bad, they're coming to his locker, and he's just being honest. And you know what? I was glad to see him say it because it's really the deal, the situation with this team.
Well, he played a big part in yesterday's game, but nobody played a bigger part than Randy Johnson. He was what they expected him to be.
Well, he was outstanding. Randy Johnson has always maintained once the weather heats up, so will I. Yesterday, he mixed his pitches very well. His location was there. His velocity was there. His slider looked a lot better. And this is the outing they really needed from him. And hopefully, this is the type of outing that will get him moving in a more consistent direction.
Look at the numbers. They're outstanding. Previous two starts, he was great. He really was. 0-2, 16 hits. Those were previous before the last two, and he has been very, very good, especially yesterday. 7 innings, 4 hits, and no earned runs. Let's take a look at today's pitching matchup brought to you by Infinity, makers of innovative high-performance premium vehicles. Carl Pavano goes for the Yankees 4-5, 4.38. Seton Hall product, Matt Morris will get the start for the Cardinals. He's 7-0 with a 3.43 ERA. So this is the last regular season game the Yankees will play here at Busch Stadium. Bob Gibson was part of the last game the Yankees played here before this weekend. Bob Gibson against Mel Stoudemire, Game 7 of the World Series in 1964. When we come back, the studio will take over, get you caught up on everything going on in the world of baseball. The Yankees gotten back their mojo. Well, one good game does not a season make, but it's certainly something nice to build off of, David.
Well, definitely, especially when you look at the outing by Randy Johnson. He's always maintained, once it warms up, I'm going to pitch better. Yesterday, he was outstanding. You look at Jeter. I mean, he showed the enthusiasm. He understands as a captain, and especially as a guy who always takes the field with a lot of energy, the importance of having that type of demeanor with your ball club. Friday night was unacceptable. Hopefully you'll see them, be so embarrassed by Friday night that they'll continue now to take the field like they did yesterday and play much better baseball.
Now, during Friday's game, you actually said Jeter has to step up and do something, be a captain and say, hey, I'm not happy with the way they played. So you weren't surprised that he did that after the game and before Saturday's game?
Well, he's never been a very vocal guy, but he's never really had to be. And I was glad to see another side of him. Grabbing hold of the reins and saying, I'm the captain. I take the field a certain way every game, and I want you to do the same thing. I love the way he did that, and I love the way he played yesterday.
Well, the lineups have been exchanged at home plate, and the Cardinals have taken the field. So why don't we take a look at Joe Torre's Yankee starting lineup, which is presented, as always, by our good friends at Rico. The aforementioned captain of the Yankees and the shortstop, Derek Jeter, leads off. Batting second and playing left field, Tony Womack. Alex Rodriguez at third base will hit third, and he is having himself quite a season. Batting fourth and playing right field, Hideki Matsui. Gary Sheffield, just a day off. Batting fifth and playing center field, Bernie Williams. The number 6 hitter in the lineup. He struggled so mightily in the field on Friday. They give it another try today. First baseman, Jason Giambi. Jorge Posada will catch. He'll bat 7th. Robinson Cano, the second baseman, hits 8th. And no DH in the National League. So the pitcher, Carl Pavano, will bat 9th.
Well, you take a look at his record. He's 7-0. He's been outstanding. He had the off-season surgery. He's much more healthy now, and he's back to being the Matt Morris that he was several years ago. If you look at our Yes Network scouting report, well, we just said it, a magnificent 7. He's 7-0. He's been very economical with his pitches. This guy has everything, the fastball, slider, changeup, and curveball. And another guy in this rotation with New York roots. He's from Middletown, New York, went to Seton Hall.
Middletown, New York, about 60 miles northwest of New York City, so I'm sure a lot of family and friends watching on the Yes Network as Matt Morris goes for his 8th victory. Let's look at the defense that's behind Matt Morris today for the Cardinals. Reggie Sanders is in left. Jim Edmonds, a Gold Glove winner, is in center. Same thing with Larry Walker and right. In fact, the two of them have 7 Gold Gloves apiece. In the infield, Mabry at third, Eckstein at short. Krutzelanic is the second baseman. Pujols plays first, and Molina behind the plate with Morris on the mound. Yankees baseball is broadcast in Spanish. It's available by hitting the SAP button on your television. And SAP is brought to you by Toyota with 17 models moving you forward. Another sellout crowd here at Busch Stadium. Let's take a look at the umpires today. Darryl Cousins is behind the plate. Jeff Nelson at first. Bill Miller at second. And the veteran crew chief, Joe Brinkman, is over at third. This is the last game of the Yankees' 12-game road trip, a road trip that to this point they would rather forget. They have won 3, they've lost 8, but they win this one, they would have won 3 of their last 4. Derek Jeter digs in and lines a first pitch into left field for a single. So Jeter starts off the game with a leadoff single to left. That's his 1,803rd career hit, ties him for 10th on the Yankees all-time list with the guy who just took his handguard from, and that is Roy White, the first base coach for the Yanks. And he was the left fielder on the Yankees 77 and 78 championship teams. There's Tony Womack. Womack has been struggling, 3 hits in his last 31 at-bats. Morris keeping Jeter close. Womack actually got his National League championship ring before the game today. He was a member of the Cardinals last year, the team that got swept by the Red Sox in the World Series. And here is the ceremony as Walt Jocketty and the rest of the team show some love to Tony Womack. He's a very popular man on this team. There's a ground ball to second. They have 1 out. They make it at first as Jeter advances to second. Jeter looks like he's trying to shake out some pain in his arm. See if we can see what happened. Could that be a cramp?
Well, there was nothing in the slide, and he's shaking his arm, but the arm never hits the ground.
Well, we'll keep an eye on that, see exactly what's going on. So he's at second base for Alex Rodriguez. A-Rod with a couple of ribbies yesterday, has 55 on the year.
And you know, with a guy like Matt Morris, because he's so economical with his pitches, you know as a hitter, you're going to get something to hit early. This year, he's second only behind Pedro with 14 pitches an inning. So you know going in, I'm going to get something early and often, and he's going to throw a lot of strikes.
Breaking ball is away. A little bit of an anniversary for Alex Rodriguez. 10 years ago today, A-Rod hit his first major league home run, and he hit it off a teammate right now, but not then. Tom Gordon, breaking ball in the Kingdome, and that was the first of 400. Swing and a miss.
And see, in situations like this with first base open, and because of the type of hitter that Alex is, he has to understand on counts 2-0, you're not going to get fastballs down the middle. As you saw, he was very far out front of that breaking ball. He's got to be much more patient, because in situations like this, they have no problem walking him to set up a double play possibility.
The 2-1. That was a hanging breaking ball that he got called a strike in the count 2-2.
And you're right, but that's the big curveball. He didn't really get the bite. This is one he actually got away with it. Kind of surprised Alex as you see that front shoulder. But Matt Morris will feature that fastball, a curveball, a slider, and he has a changeup. And he can throw any one of them at any time for strikes.
Fisted out the other way. A cue shot to Pujols. He'll step on the bag as Jeter moves to third. 2 away, and that leaves it up to Matsui. And when speaking of milestones, it's a milestone for Matsui, his 31st birthday. You remember that birthday, David?
No, that was many moons ago. And I know you don't remember it.
No, I don't have that good a memory. Pitch to Matsui. 1-0. Cardinals took 2 out of 3 from the Red Sox, and really it would be a great confidence boost for them if the Yankees come in, they take 2 out of 3 from the Yankees as well. Probably when the schedule got to Tony La Russa, he looked at this week and said, wow, that's not going to be easy. That one's ripped foul. So far they've handled both teams well.
And you know, as this game develops, you'll see Matt Morris. He loves to throw that slider inside against left-handed hitters. You'll see it a lot today, because what he's trying to do is set up that sinker on the outer part of the plate. He knows that if he can get you at least to keep from leaning out over the plate, you will not be able to get a good part of the bat on the ball.
There's a line drive right at Grutzelanic, and that'll do it. So Matsui hit the ball hard, but the Cardinals had him played well. So the Yankees threatened, come up with nothing. No runs to hit, no errors, and 1 man left on base. Matsui's bid for a birthday single is taken away. Yankees nothing, Cardinals coming to bat. You need cool drinks to cool you down in this city, that's for sure. Hot and humid all the time, no different today. Carl Pavano warming up to face this Cardinal lineup. The lineup is presented by Rico. David Eckstein, the shortstop, is going to lead off, batting second and playing second, Mark Grutzelanic. Albert Pujols, the first baseman, hits third, as in the case with Alex Rodriguez, just having an outstanding year. Jim Edmonds, the center fielder, cleans up, batting fifth and playing right field, Larry Walker. Reggie Sanders in left field will bat sixth. The number 7 hitter, third baseman John Mabry. Yadier Molina will catch, he'll bat eighth, and batting ninth and pitching, Matt Morris.
And you take a look at Carl Pavano, his 13 starts this year. You look at the record, under 500, a high earned run average. Has not been very consistent overall, but he has pitched very well on the road. And the Yes Network's got a report now on him. His last outing only made 1 mistake. He pitched a great game. But this is a guy, for some reason, when he comes out of the game, the bullpen has not helped him this year. Their earned run average has been a 5.08. And not only that, the more you see him, the better the batting average is for the opposing team. First time around, teams are hitting 282 against him. Then he goes to 304, then 343. It's not a good sign.
That means that he's not changing his pattern as the game goes on, and players are just going to school on him. There's a strike.
And it also could mean, too, that he shows too many of his pitches early. See, when you face a guy at my first at-bat, I would love to see every pitch that he has. That helps me then for all my other at-bats. And then, too, you know, he'll get into ruts where it's almost like he throws all fastballs to one part of the plate and he doesn't mix his pitches. Every time you see Pavano successful, he's throwing more split fingers, and he's throwing that fastball in and out, and he's doing a great job of mixing. When he gets hit hard is when he gets the ball up, and he throws too many fastballs, in my opinion.
That's why a guy like Eckstein is so valuable. He doesn't strike out once every 17 and a half times up, and he fouls pitches off, and he could have a 10-pitch at bat here in the first inning, and everybody goes to school on what Pavano has. There's a ground ball to Cano. 1 away. Take a look at the Yankee defense behind Carl Pavano, and it's important who the infielders are because he throws a lot of ground balls when he's right. First, let's look at the outfield. Womack, Bernie Williams, and Matsui makes his fourth start right. In the infield, you've got A-Rod, Jeter, Robinson Cano, and Jason Giambi left to right, and Posada behind the plate. Here's Grutzelanek, a 4-game hitting streak, having a good year with the Cardinals. Swings at the first pitch and grounds it softly to Jeter. 2 away. And here's Albert Pujols against Pavano. Pavano does not have great numbers against St. Louis. Career-wise, he's never beaten them. 0-3 with a 4.50 ERA. Last year he pitched a very good game against them, but lost it. 8 innings, 1 earned run. One 1-0 to Pujols. Hit sharply to A-Rod. Playing deep, he makes the play, takes a step, fires low, and a nice scoop on the backhand by Jason Giambi for the final out of the inning. So Pavano, that's a good sign for him. 3 outs, 3 ground balls, and the defense makes the plays behind him. A-Rod had too much time, guided the ball the first, but he was saved at E5 by a nice scoop by Giambi. We go to the second. Joe Torre taking it all in. He had his best moments as a player. As a Cardinal here at Busch Stadium, he was given a replica of Busch Stadium to take home with him, so he has a little bit of it. He'd like to return maybe in October, but for right now, his last regular season appearance, and he gets a nice ovation. And shakes the hand of Walt Jocketty, the general manager of the St. Louis Cards. He's had a great weekend other than Friday here in St. Louis. Bernie Williams fouls the first pitch back. After that loss on Friday, he had given his word to go on Mike Shannon's radio show. Mike Shannon owns a restaurant 2 blocks here from Busch Stadium. And his opening line was great. He sat down for the radio show because he had given his word that he was going to do it. He goes, who would have known that being on the radio with Mike Shannon would be the highlight of my day? So that broke up the whole crowd. And there's Mike. A couple of us went to that restaurant after the game, David, and we were turned away. Didn't have any room. We all looked at each other and said, you know, we should have brought Justice because he could have gotten us in.
No, I'm retired now. I'm overrated. But, you know, you saw them give him the replica, and I just think this is such a first-class organization.
Bernie pops it up. Left field. Sanders is there. 1 away.
You see yesterday when they had Joe Torre and they carted him out there to take the number down, and that wouldn't happen in any other stadium. And they give him a standing ovation. And then these people are, this is one of the best fan bases in the game. Everyone wears red. They love their ball club. You see Joe taking a trip around, and people, they love him. I mean, they love him. And this type of thing, you just wouldn't see this type of love for an opposing player who hasn't played for a long time in this uniform. You wouldn't see this anywhere else.
Pitch to Giambi is lined into right center, giving chase at Edmonds. He can't get there off the plate on a hop, so Giambi reaches on a single. Joe said he was very touched by the ovation he got as he was being driven out there by Fred Bird to the outfield wall.
You see this fastball is up out over the plate. This is a very nice swing. See the extension, head down by Jason Giambi. But Matt Morris is very similar to Pavano. When they leave their fastballs up, they get hit hard. These guys need to keep the ball down around the knees to be successful.
So Giambi with that base hit now on the road trip, 6 for 23. As he's trying to inch that average up to respectability. He's now into the 230s. He had an awful day on Friday. That's been well documented. Wasn't in the starting lineup yesterday. They started Tino Martinez. Posada wasn't in the starting lineup either. They started John Flaherty behind the plate. Flaherty caught a very good game with Randy Johnson on the mound. Posada 7 for 30 on the road trip. Swing and a miss. No score here in the top of the second inning on a Sunday in St. Louis. The 0-2 upstairs, 1-2. Yankees win this game. They were 4-8 on this 12-game road trip, the longest road trip of the year, and they cannot wait to get home.
And see, there's that slider inside. Saw that pitch and 2 pitches before that. He really wants to establish that pitch. If he can get guys looking inside, then he knows that opens up the outer part of the plate.
That's lined into left center field, a base hit. Nice piece of hitting there by Posada. And Giambi read the outfielders well. He'll go to third, and Posada will go to second as Sanders bobbled the ball. And Giambi was going to third before Sanders even bobbled the ball because Sanders kind of circled around the ball rather than charging it.
But you take a look, this is a hanging breaking ball out over the plate. And Jorge lets it get deep in the strike zone and hits it where it's pitched. Look at it from this angle. And you see Reggie Sanders, all it took was that little bobble. And you see the aggressive base running by both Jason Giambi and Jorge Posada. And, you know, this is what you want to do. You want to try to put as much pressure as you can on this St. Louis ball club. And you know, when you face a guy like Matt Morris, you're not going to get a whole bunch of opportunities to score. So when you do get situations where you can take the extra base, put yourself in scoring position, and take an opportunity to possibly get some runs, you want to take advantage of them.
Well, this is a big batter now for Morris with Giambi at third, Posada at second. Robinson Cano steps to the plate. Remember, the pitcher is on deck. They play the infield back, but a ground ball to either of the corners, they probably come home with Giambi at third. Giambi does not have great speed. Trying to tie him up low and inside right at the ankles. The count 1-0.
And the way they're positioned defensively, if the ball is hit to Mabry at third, he's not going to come home. He's been told by Soho, play it off the bat, anything up the middle, and maybe to first base, you're coming home.
Popped up, foul territory, third base side. He's not coming home on that. That's a big out for Morris. And now Pavano has to help his own cause.
Well, you see, he goes inside, tries to get in there, and Cano wasn't able to get it out far enough in front, and as a result, he popped it up to third base. But that's a big pitch by Matt Morris. And now you say it's the National League. Now the pitcher has to help himself out.
Morris will work from the wind. And there's a strike.
And see, this is one of the beauties of being a National League pitcher, is this spot right here. This is American League. You got a ninth hitter up there who can hit.
Pavano's had 4 at-bats this year. He's 0 for 4. And the pitch. Not trying to throw the ball right by him. He's thrown 2 breaking balls in a row.
Well, especially 0-2, because you know Pavano doesn't hit anymore. He's not going to judge the breaking ball very well. So you want to see if you can get him to chase something slow, hopefully out of the strike zone.
That time he goes with the fastball, 2-2. You certainly don't want to lose Pavano, then have to deal with Derek Jeter. That just doesn't make sense. And Morris takes a little stroll around the mound. Try to get through this pitch. And he gets him on the breaking ball. So Morris works in and out of trouble. No runs, 2 hits, no errors, and 2 men left on base for the Yankees. He got the pitcher on a breaking ball. We go to the bottom of the second inning. There's no score. Yankees and the Cardinals on yes. Last time the Yankees were in St. Louis, 1964, the World Series, and Mel Stoudemire pitched 3 of those games. Let's listen in on some of the Yankees pitching coach's memories.
I got thrown into the second game of the World Series and against Bob Gibson. I was fortunate enough to win that game. And as the series developed, Whitey had started the first game, and his arm was bad, wasn't able to start any more games. So I also started game 5 and got a no decision in that game. That's a game we lost. Tim McCarver hit a home run off Pete Mickelson. I remember that in the 10th inning. And then game 7, they had come to me, and I started game 7 with just 2 days rest, and they asked if I could pitch, and I said sure. So Bob Gibson also pitched, and he was stronger than I was on game 7, so I lost game 7. The negative side of it is I lost the 7th game, but I still take that as a very cherished memory, the fact that I got an opportunity to start 3 games.
And Mel Stoudemire has always gone on to say he didn't think it was that big a deal because, hey, we'll be back. We're the Yankees. And he never got in another postseason game again with the Yankees, as the Yankee franchise took a tumble after that. In fact, they didn't get back to the postseason until 1976, and Mel Stoudemire was no longer with the team. His arm had broken down. He had 3 20-win seasons on bad teams. That's how good a pitcher he was. And he showed his pedigree pitching those 3 games against Bob Gibson in the World Series. And it was a very close World Series. As you could see, the Yankees actually outscored the Cardinals. They outpitched them as well. They out-homered them, but the Cardinals won 4 games to 3. Edmonds has worked the count to 2-1. The odd thing about that series, after the series, Yogi Berra was fired. Johnny Keane did not want to come back to the Cardinals, didn't like how he was treated. Johnny Keane became the manager of the Yankees. And Yogi went on to the Mets, as Edmonds is retired for the first out of the second. So far, so good for Pavano with 4 ground balls. And that'll bring up Larry Walker. Larry Walker had a very interesting at-bat against Mariano Rivera in the 8th inning yesterday. Runners on 2nd and 3rd, 2 outs. They bring in Rivera. Walker pinch hitting. Count worked to 3-2, kept putting cutter in on the hands, and then Mariano with a 2-seamer away, and Walker was down looking to end the inning. And the thing that was bad for a baseball fan, David, you just know that if Walker walked, the tying run comes to the plate and Albert Pujols, and that would have been a really sexy matchup between Rivera and Pujols, but Rivera got him to pop out in the 9th inning without anybody on the base, and the Yankees had a 5-0 lead at that point. That one's lined to left field. That's going to be the first base hit against Pavano. Goes up against the wall. Walker will head to second with a 1-out double.
Well, Larry Walker gets a fastball up out over the plate, and he too has the ability, just like Pujols, just like Edmonds, to hit the ball to all parts of the field. He drives this ball. When you look at this lineup, I mean, they have guys that can really move that baseball around that outfield. And they're dangerous, especially when Eckstein and Gruzelanek get on base.
So Walker with a double, and that'll bring up Reggie Sanders. Fouled away. Five-game hitting streak for Reggie. 7 for 19 during that time. Got thrown out trying to score from second base yesterday. A good throw by Hideki Matsu. Yankees played a really clean, crisp game yesterday. One of their best games of the year. And Sanders fouls it away.
And, you know, we talk about adjustments all the time. As you see, here's yesterday. I mean, you see the way he charged that. And this is an outstanding throw. A good defensive play. I mean, plenty of time. All you have to do right there is just make the tag. But we're talking about adjustments that are made from game to game and sometimes inside a game. In the first game, Reggie Sanders was being pitched away. He gets the base hit the other way. Now you see the adjustments. Today, they're trying to pound him now with fastballs inside. And they see that they see a hole there that they think they can get the fastball inside. And those are the game-to-game adjustments you have to make to be successful in this game.
And then the hitter has to readjust.
Right, then he has to say, okay, now they're coming inside. I've beat them away. Now they're coming inside. Now I have to adjust. Now good hitters are able to adjust. They'll look inside, and then they'll show you they can handle that as well. But there are many hitters that can't adjust because it's just not a talent of theirs to be able to handle that particular pitch. And then now you as the pitcher, then you have to locate that area and make that pitch. If you don't locate and you leave it out over the plate, then it's going to hit you hard.
Low and away, and the count 2-2. Pavano trying to even his record at 5-5, and that would even the Yankees record at 31-31 as they head home. And that would mean they'd have exactly 100 games left after this game. The 1-2. Fouled straight back here. Just to the right of our booth. I did exactly what you told me, right, Justice? I didn't move.
Yes, you did.
I didn't move.
Now our boss, Flip, up here almost pulled a hamstring trying to catch it. He had no chance of it reaching our booth. It's okay, Flip. I got you up here. Don't even make a move. Just let me catch everything.
The 1-2. Check swing. Did he go? No, said Jeff Nelson at first.
And you know what? This is his out pitch. This is that split finger. And just enough. He stayed back just enough. He didn't get the call. Well, from that angle, it looks like he went. But it is very close. And as I always say, the umpire doesn't have the replay like we do. But I think Reggie Sanders got away with one.
Well, let's see if he takes advantage. Drives that one out to center field. Bernie Williams has plenty of room. Larry Walker tags. Williams makes the catch. Walker will go to third. Let's take a look at the Yankees' upcoming schedule, which is brought to you by McDonald's. I'm loving it. Yankees have the day off tomorrow, then interleague play continues. But at Yankee Stadium, the Pirates come into town Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday night. All the games start at 7:05. All of the games are on Yes, and the pregame show starts a half hour prior to the first pitch on Yes. Here's John Mabry. Mabry drew the short straw yesterday as a left-handed batter. He got the start against Randy Johnson. Actually got a hit his first time up. And Tony La Russa did what the Yankees thought all managers were going to do when Randy Johnson started. He sat down his lefties. He sat down Larry Walker. He sat down Jim Edmonds. And if you look at this lineup without those two guys, it's not nearly as formidable. And it was strange that he sat down Larry Walker because Larry Walker has like a .390 batting average against Randy Johnson. But his explanation was, hey, you got to give the guy a day off. Isn't it a good day to give him off against Randy Johnson?
And that's very true. You got to remember now, Larry's up in his 30s now, and you can't expect him to play every game.
Mabry with a fly ball to left center field. Bernie Williams calls off Womack, and that'll do it here in the second inning for the Cardinals. So they waste a one-out double by Walker. No runs a hit. One man left on base. Let's head to the third. Well, we go to the third inning. The Yankees and the Cardinals are scoreless. Here's a look at Tuesday's starting pitchers, brought to you by Verizon Online DSL, now twice as fast as before. Kip Wells having a good year for the Pirates with a 3.39 ERA. Mike Messina 6-4 with a 4.22. Both of them throw their fastball right around 90. Back to the top of the lineup, and Derek Jeter against Matt Morrison. Pitches outside 1-0. Coors Light scoreboard, there's no score. 0-3-0 for the Yanks, 0-1-1 for the Cardinals. The one an error by Reggie Sanders. That's his first error of the season out left. Breaking ball away, 2-0.
And you know, Michael, we're talking about veterans and giving them off days. When you have a veteran team, you don't have the expectations anymore that they'll play 162 games. So you have to pick your spots. Today, Gary Sheffield gets an off day. Well, when you're facing a tough lefty, you can totally understand Tony La Russa picking those days as off days for the lefties.
Ground ball to Eckstein. One away. Ever wonder what it takes to be a member of the mob? Tomorrow night, get an up-close and personal look at what life was like from the mafiosi who were there. Inside the Mafia is a 2-night special that airs tomorrow on the National Geographic Channel. Get an inside look at this special in the middle of the 6th inning. Don't even look at me, Justice.
I'm all over that tomorrow night.
There's a pitch to Womack for a strike.
You might see some family members.
The 0-1. What, your family?
I'm looking to my right.
I'm sitting on his left for those keeping score at home. The 0-2. Soft ground ball to first. Pujols is there, and he'll beat Womack to the bag, 2 away. So 2 down, and here is Alex Rodriguez. Spoke to Joe Torre today about the heat in this town. I said, how do you live like this? And he said, you know, when I was a player, it didn't seem that hot. He said, we had artificial turf then. He said, sometimes it would get to about 120 degrees on the field. And then he said, David, that it's actually hotter in Atlanta. Ground ball to short, backhanded by Eckstein. The long throw. Got him. A 1-2-3 inning from Matt Morris and the Cardinals. When we get back in the bottom of the 3rd inning, there's no score. We'll also get the meteorological readout from Atlanta from David Justice. You'll want to stick around for that. St. Louis framed by the famous arch. And the pitch to Molina is outside, 1-0. The Coors Light scoreboard shows us no score as we head to the bottom of the 3rd. So anyway, do you agree with Torre that it's actually hotter in Atlanta, David, than it is here?
I can see that. I told you there are times on day games we used to have one of the biggest fans I think they've ever made, and we'd have it in our dugout, and guys would actually almost lay on top of the fan. It'd be so hot. Wouldn't be much conversation, but it would be like you would just try to stay cool. It would be so hot and humid. I mean, that fan, that's nothing. That's a kid fan compared to the one we had. But that's why they term Atlanta Hot Atlanta, because it would be so hot. And I got to believe the Texas Rangers, they experience the same type of summer.
But it's a dry heat there, they say.
No way. No way.
So it was a bigger fan than that one.
That's not even a fan.
There's a base hit down the right field line. Nice piece of hitting by Molina. It kicks off the stands with an awkward angle, and that ruins any chance that Matsui had. So Yadier Molina with a double to open up the 3rd.
And this is one of those examples when you're sitting at home and you hear people say, I make a great pitch, and they still get a hit. This pitch is almost on the ground, outside, not even a strike, and he just does a great job of not trying to do too much with it. He just left the bat hit out over the plate. He was able to keep it fair, and you saw it kick off that Southwest Airlines sign, and that allowed him to move right into second base for a double.
Here's Morris. He wants to bunt to move him over. And there's a strike. Morris, an 091 hitter. He has 2 hits and 22 at-bats. He wants to bunt the ball to A-Rod. This way, there's nobody there to receive a throw. He gets the ball to A-Rod, then Molina moves to 3rd with 1 out.
But then also, he understands, too, that Giambi doesn't like to throw. So if you bunt it over there, Jason's not going to attempt to throw to 3rd base.
So just don't bunt it back to the pitcher.
Just don't bunt it to the pitcher.
And they turn him loose, and he fouls it back. So now the bunt is probably off with 2 strikes.
And either he missed a sign there, because you can't imagine he's swinging because Giambi is not even charging. You only swing normally when the corners, the third baseman or the first baseman, is bearing down on you. And you figure anything you put in play will be by him. But neither player was moving in.
Well, he squared the bunt again now. He does bunt. Bunts it back to Pavano, and he has one play. He makes it on a toss to Cano.
And, you know, Pavano really helped him out on that. I mean, he threw almost a perfect pitch to bunt. You have him 0-2. Give him a high fastball. Give him something up and make him get on top of it. Pavano comes with a pitch right down around his knees and right over the middle of the plate. The easiest ball for him to bunt in that situation. Because when you got 2 strikes, you can't be perfect. You're just trying to put something in play. Had he thrown a high fastball, something up in the zone, you may have gotten him to foul it off, or he may have popped it up, but it's a much tougher ball pitch to bunt when it's up in the strike zone.
Yankees bring the infield in for David Eckstein. Yadier Molina leads off third. 1 man out. And that's always tough to do with a pitcher like Pavano because you increase the chances of the hitter getting a base hit. Pavano throws ground balls, and with the infielders on the infield grass, their lateral movement is cut down. Eckstein's 0 for his last 15. His average has dipped under 300. He's at 299. And the count 2-0. Well, here's the weather scoreboard. It's 82 here and 77 in Atlanta. So it's not so hot Atlanta today.
Not today. But you know what? St. Louis is very similar. I told you, back when they had that AstroTurf, it would be so hot on that field. It was unbelievable. Almost like you're standing on the oven.
Joe Torre told me that when he played and they had the AstroTurf here, they wore metal spikes. He said, and the metal served as a conductor for the heat. He said, and your feet would actually feel as if they were on fire.
That's exactly what I'm saying. I mean, it was unbelievable.
There's a strike. He said Lou Brock was playing the outfield once. He said Brock had abnormally big feet. He said it really hurt him to be on the artificial turf. And he said in the 8th inning of a game once, he was like leaning against the wall, just waved out the trainer. He had to come out of the game. Couldn't stand up anymore. (3-1). Line drive. There's a base hit to left field. First run is on the board. Molina scores an RBI single for Eckstein. He breaks an 0 for 15 streak, and the Cardinals lead 1-0.
And, you know, anytime a hitter can get a pitcher into the hitter's counts, you know, good things happen. David Eckstein, he worked that count. He was able to get a 3-1 fastball, and he just drove it to left field. But that's what David Eckstein does. He's one of those little scrappy players. You say he fouls off pitches until he gets something good that he can handle. And he's a pretty good little hitter.
Here's Grutzelanic against Pavano. Eckstein takes the lead off first. Keeping him close along with David Justice. I'm Michael Kay. You're watching Yankees baseball right here on the Yes Network. We thank you so much for joining us here on this Sunday afternoon. Cardinals lead the Yankees 1-0 here at Busch Stadium, a sold-out Busch Stadium. They've had 6 straight sellouts here at Busch, 3 for the Red Sox and 3 for the Yankees. They beat the Red Sox 2 out of 3, trying to return the favor to the Yankees as well. There's a strike.
And see, Tony La Russa, he likes to do things like hitting and running. And I would not be surprised to see something like this. He's a very aggressive manager. He likes to do those type of things. And you got a guy like Grutzelanic who can handle the bat very well. He's hit over 300 the last 2 years. Solid number 2 hitter.
Carl Pavano actually has some negative history here at Busch Stadium. He served up Mark McGwire's 70th home run ball while he was a member of the Expos. He fights that one off on the fist, popped it up to A-Rod for the second out of the inning. And here is Mark McGwire's 70th against Pavano.
How long did that take to get out? It's a bullet.
62 just cleared the wall. It was a bullet right down the left field line. There's 62. That's where it landed. Probably scraped that yellow line to get over. That was 98. You were still playing, David. Were you marveling that he could hit that many home runs?
I think everyone was. I mean, nobody could believe. You know, when you got up to around 55, 60, I couldn't believe pitchers were still pitching to him. Because it's not like you can't put him on first base and he's not going to steal a base for you. My whole thing was I would never let him beat me. He's got to beat me with his legs. But he was still getting pitches, and he was on fire that year. And think of Sammy Sosa the same way. I mean, he was on fire as well. That was a great year for baseball. Both those guys, I mean, they really handled the situation. I mean, you couldn't ask for two better guys, and just the way they handled the media and the fans. That was a great year of baseball.
Sosa hit 66 that year. And then the flip side, Bonds ends up hitting 73 a couple years later, Dave, and they walked him all the time. Every time he got a chance to swing the bat, he hit the ball out.
I think Bonds was easily more amazing than the other two, because at least they got pitched to. Barry never gets pitched to, but the one pitch that he does get, he doesn't hit a base hit or a double. He hits it for a home run. That's almost impossible.
Swing and a miss. Pujols trying to go downtown there. The count 2-1.
You know, especially you're talking about the best pitchers in the world. As you see here, the pitch, he was definitely trying to give a souvenir away deep somewhere out there in the stands. But yeah, what Barry did, that's amazing to me, because he wasn't getting many pitches to hit.
The 2-1. Just missed that one, got underneath it. Popped up to Womack. And he'll make the catch in shallow left for the final out of the third. But the Cardinals take the lead. 1 run, 2 hits, no errors, and 1 man left. We've played 3 here at Busch Stadium. It's 1-0 St. Louis. We go to the 4th inning, which means, of course, it's time for the Aflac trivia question. Today is the 10th anniversary of A-Rod's first Major League home run. His 400 home runs are the most by any player within 10 years of the first home run. Who has the second most? Interesting. We'll find out in the bottom of the 4th inning. Pitch is inside, and the count 2-0 to Matsui. Runner at third base with 2 men out in the first inning. Matsui lined out to Gritsalanek. 31 years old, Hideki. Today is his birthday. And he's playing in his 1,637th consecutive professional game. 387 in the majors. Driven out to left center field and deep. Giving chase is Sanders. He's on the run. He's at the wall. He makes the play. 1 away. Showing very good power the other way, but a good jump by Reggie Sanders to haul it in.
And you know, Reggie Sanders has a lot of range, as does Jim Edmonds. As does Larry Walker. I mean, if it stays up in the air long enough, they got a good chance of catching it. This ball is really driven deep to left center field. And you see the range. Anytime you're going back by the wall, you feel that wall coming up on you. And you just got to brace yourself, concentrate on catching it, and brace yourself for any type of collision, which, as you see, just a slight one with the wall. It's a nice play by Reggie Sanders.
Here's Bernie Williams. And the pitch is high, 1-0. One nothing. St. Louis leads the Yankees. Rubber game of this 3-game set, and the final game of a 12-game road trip for the Yanks. And the count 2-0. Morris had arthroscopic shoulder surgery during the offseason. Cleaned up some loose particles in there, shaved down the labrum just a bit. And because of that, he signed a very low guarantee contract, a 1-year deal, $2.5 million. Now he has $4.5 million in performance bonuses that he could reach, but he took a $12 million pay cut to stay put here in St. Louis. And now, 7-0, if he continues to have this sort of season, he'll cash in next year.
But to me, that shows me that he has a lot of confidence in his abilities. That when he's healthy, he knows what he can do on that mound.
Bernie works a walk. You've heard about the mob, but have you heard how real-life mobsters lived? Now you can go inside with a special television event, Inside the Mafia, airing on the National Geographic Channel. We'll have an exclusive sneak peek in the 6th inning, so please stay with us. Bernie Williams just tied Met manager Willie Randolph for 4th place on the Yankees all-time walk list, 1,005 free passes. That's a little under 5 seasons for Barry Bonds. You might be noticing all of the players today wearing the pink wristbands. And that's for breast cancer awareness. They were handed out before the game, and of course the players put them on gladly. Morris keeping Bernie close. There's a lot of professional pride that each player has in other great players as well. It's not that just fans enjoy what other players do. Bernie Williams standing on first base in his locker today is a uniform top signed by Albert Pujols. So sometimes players do that for their own collection. Sometimes they do it for charities that they have, but that's who Bernie had. That should be worth some money. Pujols could end up winning the Triple Crown this year. A lot of people consider him the most likely player in baseball to be able to do that. Hasn't been done since 1967 when Carl Yastrzemski of the Red Sox did it. And for those that don't know, that's the highest batting average, home runs, and RBIs. There's a strike to Giambi. And Yankee third baseman Alex Rodriguez flirting with the top of all those categories as well. And there's some history of the Triple Crown here in St. Louis. Rogers Hornsby won 2, and Joe Ducky Medwick won 1. Hornsby won it in 22 and 25, and Ducky Medwick in 1937. Bernie goes. The throw to second is not needed since it was a walk. Morris staring into Darrell Cousins, thinking that should have been a strike. So 2 successive walks from Morris. The first 2 walks he's issued, and he's pitched himself into a little bit of a jam.
Well, as we take a look at the pitch, you know, Morris obviously thought it was at the knees, which would have definitely here been a throw out of Bernie at second. but not the case, and now 2 walks. And this is a guy who doesn't walk many. He's been very economical with his pitches all season long.
Here's Posada. And as David mentioned at the start of the game, Mars averages just 14 pitches an inning. And only Pedro Martinez throws less pitches per inning at 13.6 in the National League. So Dave Duncan, Tony La Russa's longtime lieutenant and pitching coach, watching closely from the dugout. In the American League, Carlos Silva throws just 11.8 pitches per inning. That's economical. And then Jason Johnson, Roy Halladay, and Pedro Martinez tied at 13.6. There's a swing and a miss.
And when you looked at all those names, all those guys were pretty successful. You know, and it points to the fact that if you can throw strikes and you keep the ball down and let the hitters put the ball in play and let your defense work for you, then, you know, you don't have to throw a lot of pitches every inning. It's when you nibble and you try to trick hitters and fool them. That's when you get those high pitch counts.
Driven out to left field. Sanders on the run. He's on the track. He'll make the play. He's getting a workout in left field for the second out of the inning. Runners head back. Posada drove that ball well the other way.
Well, you say he's getting a workout, but he's got tremendous range out there in left field. I mean, he's in his upper 30s as well, 37 years old. But he still can do it.
That is a veteran outfield that the Cardinals have 110 combined years. That's on earth, not in baseball. Here's Robinson Cano. Way out in front. 0-1. Big foul out there in the second inning by Cano. Runners on second and third with 1 out, but he fouled out to the third baseman, John Mabry, and then Carl Pavano struck out. That was the Yankees' best opportunity to get something serious going. And the count quickly 0-2. Cano on this road trip, 10 for 38. He's been hovering right around 250 all year. He's at 254 right now. Pitches outside. He does not look overwhelmed ever. When he first came up, he was 3 for 23, but he didn't look like he was being overpowered. And then he went off on that hot streak on the West Coast trip. Came back down to earth just a bit, but certainly has done a nice job as a rookie, as has Chin-Ming Wang, another guy who just doesn't look overwhelmed. Strike 3. Robinson Cano down looking, and Morris works out of trouble with the 2 walks. No runs, no hits, no errors, and 2 men left on base. We have played 3.5 innings as Darryl Cousins says, "You are gone" to Robinson Cano. We head to the bottom of the 4th, 1-0 St. Louis. Bottom of the 4th inning, it's time to take the Al Aflac trivia question, and the answer. Today is the 10th anniversary of A-Rod's first Major League home run. His 400 home runs are the most by any player within 10 years of the first home run. And who has the second most home runs in that period of time? The answer is in a second. Edmonds swings and misses. Eddie Matthews of the Milwaukee and the Atlanta Braves. What a home run tandem, he and Hank Aaron. Edmonds, Walker, and Sanders against Carl Pavano. Edmonds goes down.
And you look, he wants the fastball inside. And the one thing, you never want to throw it around a guy's head, but you definitely want to get it in. Because you don't want to make a mistake trying to come inside on a guy like Jim Edmonds and leave it out over the plate, because he can hit it a long way. mean, you talk a lot about Jim Edmonds and his defensive abilities, the Gold Gloves. But if you ask anyone in baseball since 2000, what center fielder is the leader in home runs, slugging percentage, walks, extra base hits, game-winning RBIs? What center fielder's number one? In all of baseball, no one would say Jim Edmonds. That's how good he's been since he's come to the Cardinals. And there are some good center fielders in the game.
And on top of all those stats, the 5 straight Gold Gloves. 7 in all.
But when we talk about best overall center fielders, his name doesn't come up.
That's a nice piece of hitting by Edmonds. Takes it right down the third base line. Edmonds will round first. He's going to go to second as Womack flips the ball into A-Rod. So a leadoff double for Jim Edmonds. Well, it looked like he just served that down the line, David.
And you know what? All he did was took what Pavano gave him. This is a pitch out over the plate, a little bit off. And these type of pitches, especially when they're up in the zone, you don't want to do too much with them. All you need to do is get the bat head out there and leave it out there. And that's exactly what he did.
Here's Larry Walker, doubled his last time up. And there's a ground ball to Jeter. He's going to go and try to get the out at third. And does A-Rod hold on? Yes, he does, as Edmonds is out. That's bad base running by Jim Edmonds. And a good play by Derek Jeter to get him.
Well, you're right. This ball was hit too hard for Jim Edmonds to even attempt this. But you know what? It's a great play by Jeter because he knew immediately. And you know what? The throw's got to be perfect because there's always that tendency of you hitting that runner in the back. If you do that, then now you got first and third. This is a great throw. Got plenty of time. But the ball was just hit too hard for Jim Edmonds to try to go to third base. And see, you'll see a lot of runners. They'll try to angle out toward that shortstop's line of sight to hoping to be hit in the back.
So Walker's on the fielder's choice. Here's Reggie Sanders. Now, most of the time, if the ball's hit behind you, it's okay to go to third. But as David was saying, that ball was hit too sharply. And he should have known his place was to go back to second. But he tried to go. Not many shortstops can make that play. And A-Rod and Jeter certainly have good timing with it. A-Rod knows when to get to the bag, and Jeter throws the ball right over the bag.
And a lot of shortstops won't try to make that play because they know what can happen if the throw's not perfect. Because they know that runner's going to try to get in their line of sight and disrupt the throw. And if you hit the runner, now you're first and third. So they'll go ahead and take the easy out, the safe out, and just go ahead and throw across the first base.
And if you really foul it up and hit the ball or get the ball right on the guy's back, he can end up scoring.
Right, because, you know, it could careen off his back and go down the left field line. You're right. Then you got him scoring. You got the guy on first base going to second base. A lot of guys just don't want to attempt that.
And Jeter does that very well, has for years. And he's worked on it with his third baseman. They almost have a timing thing. Boggs was great with it with him. Scott Brocious for that 1 year. Aaron Boone. And now A-Rod and Jeter seem to be working in tandem on that play as well, where A-Rod knows when he's going to go to third. The 1-0. Chases a high fastball. Carl Pavano might start getting a complex. Last time he pitched so well, he gave up a 2-run home run in the second inning to Bill Hall, the shortstop for the Brewers, and the Yankees got him just 1 run. They lost 2-1. Now they're 0 for 6 with runners in scoring position today, and he's down 1-0 here in the 4th. Fights it off and fouls it away.
And so you see him trying to pound Reggie Sanders inside. As I said earlier, Reggie Sanders had a couple hits to right field. They pitched him away earlier in the series. Now the Yankees said, okay, we know now you can hit the fastball away. Let's see if you can hit fastballs inside. Let me see you. We're going to try to make you now make the adjustment back to us. And he's getting in on Reggie Sanders. Reggie Sanders is not making the adjustment yet.
Just missed inside. Walker had bluffed, but then headed back to first. A-Rod playing deep at third and fairly close to the line for the righty swinging Sanders. Walker leads off first, held there by Giambi. And now Pavano, Posada, and Sanders all playing a cat and mouse game. Swing and a miss. Sanders down on strikes. So they're two-way, and that'll bring up John Mabry.
Well, he goes inside. Looked like maybe a two-seam fastball, or maybe even a split finger.
And here's Mabry. Mabry flied out to center. That was in the second. There's a significant amount of pressure on Pavano today because how the Yankees play this game just changes the whole perspective of the road trip. Even if they win, 4-8 is awful on a 12-game trip. But you could spin it. If you're the Yankees, you could spin it to yourselves. If you win today, you've won 3 out of 4. And it does leave you with a much better taste in your mouth to enjoy the off day tomorrow. And they'd be back at 500 as they start the series in New York. So it's a significant game. Popped up. Foul territory, third base side, and Posada makes the call on the catch for the final out of the bottom of the fourth inning. So a leadoff double is wasted. No runs a hit. One man left. Let's go to the fifth. It's 1-0 Cardinals on Yes. Thank you, Bob. There's a little bit of a discussion going on with the umpires and trainer of the Cardinals, Barry Weinberg, and it seemed like Weinberg was talking at length with Darrell Cousins, the home plate umpire, and the other 3 umpires were standing off to the side. I don't know what they're talking about. Obviously, we told you before the heat here in St. Louis is pretty bad, but today is moderately mild for St. Louis. And now it seems like Barry Weinberg will go into the dugout, and the umpires will go back to their respective positions. .81 degrees. So it looks like everybody's okay, and we're ready to roll here in the 5th inning. For the Yankees, Pavano will lead off. It'll be Pavano, Jeter, and Womack, 9, 1, and 2. And on the Chevy scoreboard, Cardinals lead 1-0, 1-4 and 1 for the Cards, 0-3 and 0 for the Yankees. Yankees 0 for 6 with runners in scoring position. Well, when you watch Pavano swing the bat, and you just watch pitchers in general swinging the bat, you realize why pitchers going from the American League to the National League have more success than they do in the American League. Roger Clemens, who pitched very well with the Yankees, was supernatural with the Astros and won the Cy Young Award. And look at the start that Pedro Martinez has gotten off to with the New York Mets. It seems, David, it's an automatic out in the lineup.
they're used to pitching against the American League lineups where the ninth hitter at the end of the season, he might have 15, 20 home runs. They come to the National League and they see, if I get that seventh hitter out, the eighth hitter, I can put him on if the situation presents it and get the ninth hole hitter. It's almost an automatic out, and it just makes pitching in the National League that much more easy.
And then that eighth hitter is sometimes over anxious because he knows he's not going to see a lot of great pitches, and he might expand the strike zone just a little bit. I spoke to Andy Pettit about it the other day. He said, any pitcher who tells you it's not easier pitching in the National League is lying. He said it's much easier. It's different and it's easier. He said it's just easier lineups.
Well, I tell you, I talked to Mark Mulder when he came over here, and he said he noticed it in spring training. He had a situation where it was second and third with one out. He got the seventh hole guy to pop up to make it 2 outs. He put the eighth guy on first and pitched to the pitcher and got him out.
Right.
Now, if that was American League, that's a whole different scene because the eighth hitter can hit and the ninth hitter can hit.
And then the flip side, guys going from the National League to the American League, they struggle. And we've seen it with the Yankees for a couple of years. Javier Vazquez struggled. Now he's back with the Diamondbacks, and he's pitching a lot better. Carl Pavano has struggled this year. Randy Johnson has struggled. Now, you can say Randy Johnson used to pitch in the American League. Yeah, I know, when he was 10 years younger.
I think day in and day out, the American League throws you better offensive lineups than the National League. And so when you come to the American League, you have to have your game tight. I mean, you have to be on top of your game. If you're not, you're going to have an earned run average of 4 or 5 because of those lineups.
Count 1-2 on Jeter. Jeter's 1 for 2. Pitches upstairs and 2-2. Told you that Morris, Seton Hall graduate, very proud of his Seton Hall connections. Slow grounder up the first baseline. Molina gets an angle. 2-away. Jeter tripped coming out of the box, which slowed down his progress just a bit.
Well, it was another slow breaking pitch. You see he gets Jeter hit it off the very end of the bat, and right there looks like his left foot hit the bat.
He's limping just a little bit going to the dugout. Looks like he's okay. Anyway, the allegiance to Seton Hall, the way that Matt Morris shows it, he actually has the letters SH tattooed on his ankle.
That's really loving your school.
And the count is 2-0. Well, it's the guys that tattoo things that can change on their body. That's questionable. Like some guys tattoo wives' names and they got to change. Like if they get different wives.
Yeah, well, and you know the second wife is probably going to want her name tattooed on there too because of the first wife.
That's right. Hit sharply and through for a base hit. So a 2-out single for Tony Womack. And that brings up Alex Rodriguez. Eric Milton actually tattooed each logo from, when he was drafted by the Yankees, he had the Yankee top hat logo tattooed on his back. And then he tattooed the Twins when the Yankees traded him to the Twins for Chuck Knobloch. And then he tattooed the Phillies. And now he's had the Cincinnati Reds tattooed. You better hope he doesn't have a vagabond career.
But there's a theme to that, though. At least he's consistent with what he's doing.
The bad part is he's getting tattooed in Cincinnati. A-Rod steps out. Both pitchers are really slowed down here.
Well, definitely Matt Morris knows that Tony Womack, he played with Tony Womack. He knows Tony Womack with 2 outs is going to try to get in scoring position for Alex Rodriguez.
And Tony Womack's been on base so infrequently, he hasn't had a chance to steal. He's 3 for his last 33 before that single. Yankees would love him to start getting on base because he does create havoc on the bases. He'll run. Breaking ball is low, 1-0. Grounded sharply past the diving Mabry and down the left field line. Let's see if they send Womack. Sanders digs it out of the corner. He'll get it into Eckstein. The throw home is cut off by Pujols. Fires to second, not in time. An RBI double for Alex Rodriguez, and we are tied up at 1.
And, you know, that's what you're talking about. Tony Womack, the speed of Tony Womack. That play, only reason why it wasn't close at home is because of his speed. And if they can get him rolling, as you see, Alex Rodriguez hits this ball very hard past the diving John Mabry. But Reggie Sanders does a good job of getting to this ball and cutting it off. But I tell you, there's nothing like speed. And you see Tony Womack, the fastest guy on the team, makes the nice turns and gets in there easily. No play at home at all.
56 run batted in for Alex Rodriguez. Joe Torre calls Tony Womack the fastest Yankee he's ever had. He's got some pretty fast players, too. Pitch to Matsui is inside. So the 2-out single served up to Womack turns out to be costly as A-Rod follows it with a double.
As you see Reggie Sanders getting this, I mean, he cuts it off. This ball never even makes it to the fence. Gets the throw in, but the speed of Tony Womack, there's just no chance at home. And, you know, John Mabry, I mean, he feels it everywhere. He can be an outfielder, third base. But this is when the injury to Scott Rowland hurts your ball club. He's a Gold Glove third baseman who probably knocks that play down.
Driven out to left field. Sanders is there, and Sanders puts it away on the warning track for the final out of the inning. But the Yankees tie the score. 1 run, 2 hits, no errors, and 1 man left on base at the end of 4.5. We're halfway through, 1-1. Well, we're going to have a little bit of a holdup here at Busch Stadium. The umpires, all of them have left the field. One of the umpires ducked in behind home plate. I think they're going to change the home plate umpire. We told you that Darryl Cousins in the previous inning was talking to the trainer for the Cardinals. There's Joe Brinkman, the crew chief. I believe it was Bill Miller that ran in possibly to put on the home plate gear. And Brinkman will now go to the Yankee dugout and just tell him what's going on. As they prepare for a new home plate umpire, it gives us time to show you the last championship that the Cardinals have had here. 1982, you know that man. Jim Cott was on that team. That's Jim's only world championship in his illustrious career. Got some big outs, getting out left-handers with that familiar jog back to the dugout. And then they finally took home the championship with Bruce Sutter on the mound. Keith Hernandez on that team, Ken Oberkfell. That team could run, and they really took advantage of the artificial turf here at Busch Stadium, and that was the last time they've captured a world championship. So right now you have to wonder, how will this delay affect Carl Pavano?
And that's exactly what I was thinking. As you see, obviously Darryl Cousins is not feeling very well. But you're right. I mean, you don't want it to take such a long time where Pavano gets a little cold, gets a little stiff over there.
It's a 1-1 game right now. We're in the bottom of the 5th inning. So the Yankees, rather than standing out there in the heat, retreat to the dugout. And Tony Womack, let's check that. Robinson Cano
is checking out the ramp.
Get some shade. Steve Donnie, I'd love to be able to do that to people, or without them wanting it. That's helpful on a day like this. It might seem trivial, David, but that is helpful.
It's the best feeling. That right there automatically makes you feel like you can play. And just add on 9 innings. Every time they spray you like that.
How about the ammonia? Did they ever do that?
I never liked that.
Why not?
Sorry, I just don't like them putting a big wet towel over my whole head.
Chevy scoreboard as the Yankees and the Cardinals tied at 1. Hey, later tonight, don't miss a night of great premieres on Yes. First at 9, it's an all-new Bex Presents Center Stage with Emmy Award-winning sportscaster Dick Enberg. Then at 10, catch the premiere of Yankeeography, Greg Nettles, featuring a look at the legendary all-star third baseman. The night of great premieres starts tonight at 9, only on Yes. And Dick Enberg is very, very good in that interview. Has a lot of great stories, as you could imagine, all the things that he's done. So I would watch it if I were you. And obviously, Yankeeography, 2-time Emmy Award winner. You get Greg Nettles, great Yankee. And we'll get a look into the life and times of Nettles. So that's all tonight on Yes. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the New York Yankees and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the aforementioned New York Yankees. So, David, how important is this game for the Yankees?
Well, I think it's very important for a couple reasons. One, it gets you back to 500. And also looking at the way you said, you got to look at it the positives. It's 3 out of 4. They're playing a good game. You're getting a good pitching performance by Pavano. There's a confidence builder for him and for your starters. Now, if you can win this ball game, especially if it's a close ball game, that's confidence then in terms of you feeling like we can win close ball games. Anything they can do to build confidence, to build some type of consistency is a positive thing. Now you're going home, you've got Pittsburgh coming in. This is not one of the dominant teams in the National League. So that's a team that you can win that series as well. And all they're trying to do right now is get to the point where they're playing consistent baseball and playing the way they can play and the way they approach the game. Because they're the Yankees. And, you know, everybody, as I always say, they're going to get up to play them. And the Yankees have got to be ready for that.
And there's one thing that we're not even mentioning. If they win this game, they actually win a series. And they haven't won a series, and it seems like forever. They lost the first 3 series on this road trip. They lost the final series against the Boston Red Sox. The last series they won was when they swept the Detroit Tigers at Yankee Stadium, and to do it against a team that comes in at 39-22, the Cardinals are off to their best start since 1944. That would send a message to baseball, I think, as well as within that locker room. Hey, you know what? We're not done. We could beat the Cardinals 2 out of 3 after they just took the Red Sox 2 out of 3. I think that does send a message.
But, you know, I think if you ask anyone around baseball, because, you know, they're watching the Yankees, everyone knows they have not played up to expectations. Everyone knows that they're a better ball club than what they're showing. And the one thing that's great about it is they're not too far out of this. So if they start playing good baseball, as you see them about to take the field, as long as they start playing good baseball and build off of that, they'll catch Baltimore, and they'll be right in the thick of things come September, you know, and they'll be tough down the stretch.
I think the thing that really buoys the Yankees is that they come into the action today 6 games out. They're in 4th place. They're a half game behind Toronto. Now, Toronto's made strides, but I don't think anybody thinks that Toronto is going to be there. Everybody looks at the Red Sox as the Yankees' big competition. The Red Sox, hey, they're the defending world champions. So with all the trials and tribulations that the Yankees have gone through, and believe me, we are not exaggerating them, they have played horrible baseball. They're 2 games behind the Red Sox.
Right, and you know, the Red Sox, you know, they're hoping they get a Schilling back. I mean, that's like a trade.
Right.
Exactly. And that's the team, to me, that they have to stay close to. Now, Baltimore has had their injuries. Bedard is out. Javi Lopez, their #1 catcher, is out. And I just don't think, personally, that Baltimore has enough to keep this lead for the rest of the year. Now, they may surprise all of us, but I'm just not a believer yet, which means I have to keep my focus on the Red Sox, staying close to them, and us playing better baseball. If they do that, then they're going to be in the thick of things, and we'll just see how it turns out. But if they continue to be inconsistent, they may mess around and have Boston all of a sudden get hot, get a Schilling back, and Boston gets too far ahead of them, and then now it may be too big of a lead to catch.
And right now, the word that we're hearing is that Schilling is hoping to return a little bit before the All-Star game, and that would be a great boost for the Red Sox. And you know, the Red Sox haven't had Schilling. They didn't have David Wells for a couple of weeks, and you mentioned some of the injuries to the Orioles. They also lost their center fielder Luis Matos. Brian Roberts, who's having an MVP-type season, missed about 8 or 9 games with a bad shoulder. So they have had their adversity as well. And if you had Lee Mazzilli here, the manager of the Orioles, he said, well, what makes you think we can't stay up there with all our injuries when they get back? So everybody's got hope.
And you know what? I'll be the first one to say, I've played for a team, the Braves in '91, when everyone thought there's no way we could hold on to what we were doing. You know, Baltimore may shock us. I'm personally saying I'm just not a believer yet.
That was the worst of first Braves, right?
Yes.
Well, here we go. We're ready. New home plate umpire, and Molina leads off. And the pitch is a strike from Pavano. So let's see if the delay has any effect on Carl Pavano. Yadier Molina doubled on a real tough pitch by Pavano in the 3rd inning. Eventually came around to score the only run. Bloops it that way again, and it's fouled into the seats. The delay was a little bit over 9 minutes. They gave Pavano as much time as he needed to warm up, and you don't need to warm up on a day like this. Got Joe Brinkman, who is still at 3rd. He's the crew chief. I believe that Jeff Nelson stays at 1st, and Bill Miller is taken over behind the plate. So Darryl Cousins is the umpire who is retired to the clubhouse right now. Line drive down the left field line. Foul ball. So he hit that ball a ton, but it just curved foul. Buddy Groom throwing in the Yankee bullpen. Check swing by Molina. Did he go? No. Says Jeff Nelson at 1st.
And this is the 2nd close call on a check swing. And from that angle, very tough to see. Looks like he did hold up just barely.
When we're talking about giving veterans days off, usually catchers have 1 day off in a weekend series, not Molina. Caught on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Pavano's thrown 65 pitches, 39 for strikes. Right back up the middle. Does it squeak through? Yes, it does. Under the lunge of Jeter into center field. So Molina, a leadoff single. And that's big because that allows Morris to bunt.
As you see, he gets the pitch right over the middle of the plate. He just takes it right back through the middle. And at first I thought Jeter might make this play. It wasn't hit very hard, but just out of his reach.
Morris is getting set to bunt. And he bunts it straight up in the air, but over the screen and out of play.
And you see on that play, Alex Rodriguez was so close to Morris. I mean, he could have touched Morris. And that's a psychological message you're sending to him. That I'm going to be so close to you, you better get this bunt perfect. You see Alex move in. You see that Matt Morris is looking down at Alex, and Alex is playing games with him. Trying to confuse him. Are you going to bunt this, or are you going to try to swing at it? I think that's a great move by A-Rod. See him stepping in and stepping back.
Alex looks like he's doing the cha-cha-cha.
Yeah, and anything he can do to disrupt Morris's concentration. See, Alex is, because see, Matt Morris, you know, his job is to get this down and move this runner over. But he knows that if A-Rod is charging very hard, you know, pitches inside, he can swing. But more than anything, he wants to get that runner to second.
And bunted foul. But as he proved last time, because he's a National League pitcher and he handles the bat a little bit better than the American League pitchers would, just because there's 2 strikes does not mean that the bunt is automatically taken off. He got down a good bunt with 2 strikes before.
And it'll be very interesting to see the pitch selection this time, because last time it was an 0-2 fastball right down the middle, knee high. Very easy for him to bunt. Give him either a split finger in the dirt or something hard up. You know, because a lot of guys, they'll pop up that fastball as high.
Squaring the bunt again. He bunted foul, and he strikes out.
See, that's a nice pitch. That's the type of pitch I'm talking about. Something down around the strike zone that's very tough to bunt. Good pitch by Pavano. As you see, here it is. Looks to me like it's a split finger down. Out of the strike zone, it would have been strike 3, but when you got 2 strikes on you, you know, you're defensive. You got to bunt something. You don't want to take it. A very tough pitch for him to bunt, and he was able to foul it off and then strike him out.
David Eckstein looks down at Jose Oquendo, the third base coach for the Cardinals. Eckstein with an RBI single in the third, single to left field. That scored Molina. Molina's at first now, held there by Giambi. Just as catching runs in the family. His 2 brothers play for the Angels and are both catchers. So does a lack of foot speed. So it will not be easy for him to score on an extra base hit. Right back to Pavano. Feeds it to Cano for 1 on to first. Double play. So that's exactly what Carl Pavano needed, and he erases the leadoff single by Yadier Molina. No runs a hit, no errors, and because of the double play, nobody left on base. Let's go to the 6th inning here at Busch. It's 1-1. Time to take a look at the scoring summary, which is brought to you, as always, by Bank of America. 1-5-0 Yanks, 1-5-1 for the Cards. Jeter singled in the first inning. 1,803rd career hit, tied for 10th place most Yankees hits in history. Roy White. Bernie Williams drew his 1,005th career walk, tied for 4th most in Yankee history with Willie Randolph. David Eckstein, an RBI single in the 3rd. Alex Rodriguez, an RBI double in the 5th. That's where we stand. Good game, 1-1. And the pitch to Bernie Williams is a strike. Bernie today 0 for 1 with a walk. Breaking ball is low, and the count 1-1. It'll be Williams, Giambi, and Posada here in the 6th. Fouled away. Right before the half inning began, Rick Horton, broadcaster for the Cardinals and a left-handed starter and reliever for the Cardinals in '87. Wore number 49 with the Cards, and after today there are 48 games remaining in the regular season here at Busch Stadium. So Rick Horton takes down his old number 49. So 48 days or 48 games, and then next year they will play in Busch Stadium 3, which is being constructed just outside of this Busch Stadium. In fact, it's so close that 20 days after the final game here at this Busch Stadium, they will implode the stadium and be able to complete the brand new ballpark, which is going to hold about 46,000 people. This one opened up in 1966, and this is the final season. The weird thing is that after the final game, whether it be in the playoffs or the World Series, they have 20 days to get everything out of this ballpark before they blow it up. They'll get the seats out. They might take the scoreboards out, all the stuff in the in the clubhouses, everything will get shifted over there. Then they'll blow it up, and they will complete the other ballpark, hopefully by next April. Bernie swings and misses, one away here in the 6th. And this is what the new ballpark is going to look like. Again, the front looks like the old Ebbets Field. And it will look out over the arch, which is the gateway to the west. It looks like HOK, the architects who came up with Camden Yards, have done a nice job with the Cardinals' new ballpark. So 48 regular season games, and the Cardinals are hoping there are going to be a couple of playoff games thrown in there as well. Pitch to Giambi's a strike. Did you ever get to play in Turner Field?
No, well, just an exhibition game in spring training.
A little bit better than the other place?
I liked Atlanta Fulton County Stadium.
Did you really?
Absolutely. Much better. I really liked it. Now, Camden Yards, some of these newer stadiums, I think are absolutely beautiful. I like the Philadelphia Phillies, their new stadium. Camden Yards is still beautiful.
So you don't like Turner Field, or you like
I don't like
County?
Turner.
Really?
I don't like Turner Field. No, I like Fulton County Stadium better. I mean, I like it was just, I don't know, there's nothing that captivates me about Turner, the Turner Stadium, and also I just think it looks, maybe it's so much more expansive, you know, out in the outfield and everything. I like those little confined stadiums. You know, I like Wrigley. I mean, Wrigley's not a very old stadium, but something about, you know, those intimate type stadiums I like much more.
And unfortunately, it couldn't be intimate because it was originally the Olympic Stadium, which they had to kind of slice in half to turn into Turner Field for the Braves. So count now 3-2 on Giambi. Morris pitching a 5-hitter, as is Carl Pavano. Rubber game of this 3-game set. Giambi's 1 for 1 with a walk. And the 3-2. Breaking ball just missed. Morris stands with his hands on his hips as if to say, where was that? So Giambi works a walk.
And you know, it's a very close pitch, and this is a pitch that can go either way. You know, looks down to me, but, you know, Morris wants this pitch, and it's a close pitch. You've seen it called a strike many times and a ball. This time it's in Giambi's favor.
That's a tough pitch to take with 2 strikes. But Giambi's eye has never been in question. The umpires know that as well, so he works his second walk, and here's Posada. Tanyan Sturtz begins to throw in the Yankee bullpen. Remember, Pavano is due up 2 batters from now. So if the Yankees have the bases loaded with 1 out, or runners in second and third with 2 outs, they might want to pinch hit for Pavano and try to win it right here. And that's where the National League and the American League is so different. Pavano pitching the way he's pitching right now, you'd never think about taking him out. So when they tell you the DH takes away strategy, well, you can see in games like this it certainly does. But the pitcher hitting takes away offense. So you have to weigh, what does the public like? Do they like offense, or do they like strategy?
And as a player in the National League, you know, everyone is always ready to play at any moment because of the double switches and situations like this. In American League, you can go 2 weeks without even sniffing the field. Because there's no double switch, and there's not, you know, like I said, there's not the strategy involved. It's just putting up the lineup and letting them go play, and then late in the game, more times than not, is when you see your pinch hitter in the 8th or 9th inning.
Swing and a miss. Here's one gamble, though, that Joe's taking. You're only going to get 5 innings out of your starter if you pinch hit for Pavano here. Then you got to go to Sturtz. Tom Gordon's not available today because of the comebacker that tipped off his right hand in the 8th inning yesterday. You're going to have to fashion 4 innings out of your bullpen, and there's only 2 guys you truly trust, Tanyan Sturtz and Mariano Rivera.
But that's why it's so tough managing in the National League, because you're always gambling, and there's more times than not you gamble much more often in the National League. because of those type of situations. Now you see Tanya Search sat down. So unless something big happens here, Pavano's going to stay in the ball game.
I wonder if LaRussa's toying with the idea of saying, gee, I don't even care if Cano gets on. That forces Joe's hand to take out Pavano, who we haven't been able to hit. There's a strike. Not much smiling by LaRussa during games. In the National League, there's a story that circulates when you talk about strategy. Clay Kirby of the Padres was actually lifted pitching a no-hitter, I believe after 7 innings, simply because they tried to score a run. I think that the manager was Don Zimmer. There's a line drive, base hit down the right field line. Let's see if Giambi can score. He motors the third. Getting it in quickly is Walker. So now Joe does have the decision, second and third, with Pavano due up. No, it wasn't Don Zimmer. It was Preston Gomez, the manager of that Padre team. Joe's the manager of this Yankee team. Looks like he's going to let Pavano hit.
Oh, you're right. I mean, he just doesn't want to take that chance. You see, this is a breaking ball, and he's been throwing Cano all game. A lot of breaking balls inside. Cano makes the adjustment, drives it down the right field line. Giambi not fleet of foot, and the fact that Larry Walker gets over to it pretty quickly, there's no chance for him to score.
Grounded, diving stop by Pujols. He's going to race Pavano to the bag. He beats him. And the Cardinals escape by just the thinnest of margins as the ball settles into the webbing of Pujols' glove on the dive. No runs a hit, no errors, and 2 men left. At the end of 5.5 innings of play, Yankees won and the Cardinals won. As promised earlier, it's now time for an exclusive sneak peek at Inside the Mafia, airing tomorrow on the National Geographic Channel. Well, Carl Pavano almost helped himself. Only a diving play by Albert Pujols kept him from picking up a 2-run single and giving himself a 3-1 lead. Instead, he takes a 1-1 game into the bottom of the 6th. That's pretty good play by Pujols, David.
That's a nice play by Pujols. When you look at this team, you can understand why they're such a good team. This is an outstanding defensive play, and he doesn't want to take a chance on trying to lead the pitcher to the bag. He figured, I can outrun him to the bag. That'll be the safest play. But this is a very nice play. This is a very good defensively sound St. Louis Cardinals team. They got the pitching, their defense is solid, and they can hit the ball. You see the reason why they're off to such a good start this year and why they're such a good team.
Well, Grudzielanek will start it off as Posada goes out and talks with Pavano before he throws a pitch this inning. And you see Al Reyes beginning to warm for the Cardinals in their bullpen. But Grudzielanek's the number 2 batter in the lineup. You got a long way to go before you get to Matt Morris. Grudzielanek 0 for 2 against Pavano. And the pitch is low, 1-0. Pavano looking for his first win against the Cardinals, 0-3 lifetime. And looking to give the Yankees a series victory for the first time in about 2 weeks since they defeated the Detroit Tigers at Yankee Stadium. They swept the Tigers. Ground ball up the middle, a base hit for Grudzielanek.
See, Grudzielanek gets his first hit of the game. This is a fastball out over the plate. He just drives it back through the middle. This is a big inning now for Pavano because he's got the meat of the lineup coming up.
Well, he's held Pujols in check so far. He's 0 for 2, Pujols is. Grounded to third and flied to left. Neil Allen, the pitching or the bullpen coach, awaiting that ring to see who he should get to warm. Grudzielanek is running. And the pitch is popped up down the right field line. Giving chase is Matsui, but it just makes the seats foul. Boy, La Russa is not shy about starting runners at any time. There's a book out now that La Russa collaborated on with Buzz Bissinger, who also wrote Friday Night Lights. It's called 3 Nights in August, and it details everything that La Russa puts into every decision he makes. It's detailing a series a couple of years ago between the Cardinals and the Cubs right here at Busch Stadium. And he likes to hit and run on counts that you usually just don't hit and run on. A lot of times you'll see managers hit and run on 3-1. Obviously, it can't be a pitch out. Pitchers trying to throw a strike. The Yankees did that for the longest time when they were on that run for the 4 championships. But they don't do it as much anymore. Usually you don't see a hit and run on 0-0, which is what he did with Pujols. Fouled straight back here, and the count quickly 0-2. The one thing that you get from that book, there's very little joy around Tony La Russa when he manages. Every single game is like Armageddon to him, and he doesn't derive much joy from winning, and he agonizes over losing. And that's right out of the Pat Riley school. Former Laker coach, former Knick coach, and also the Heat. Said there's winning and then there's misery. The 0-2. Nice block by Posada. Former Yankee manager Buck Showalter, now at the Texas Rangers, used to say he didn't receive much joy from winning games. He said, but he knew that when he won, he didn't have to suffer the angst and the anxiety and the hurt of watching the other team win. He said that's the joy that it brought him, that he didn't have to agonize when he lost. It's a hard way to go through life, but that's how some managers do it. La Russa's definitely in that mold.
That might make you lay on a lot of couches in a lot of offices.
Right off the end of the bat.
I mean, anytime you're competing in a sport, you have to understand you got to lose sometime, you know, and be able to deal with it. And when it gets to the point where it affects you like that, I don't know, I mean, it just seems to me like, why would you even want to do it then?
And also when you don't derive any joy out of winning.
Yeah, why would you even want to win? Then where are you getting any enjoyment, especially when you've done it for a very long time? Is getting enjoyment somewhere, because why would you put yourself through it?
I mean, it's a lot of money in the game.
There you go. I mean,
that might be the enjoyment.
Want to make that, yeah, if you want that to be it.
Runner goes, pitch is high, throw to second, not in time. Stolen base for Gutsalonic.
Well, you see, he gets a pretty good jump, but this is a very tough pitch for Posada. If you take a look at the pitch, I mean, this ball is really up, but I think Gutsalonic stole this basically off of Pavano. Didn't really give him a good chance of getting him at second base. Still has pretty good speed, Gutsalonic.
The 2-2. This is a big matchup for Pavano because this is one of the game's great hitters at the plate. You've got first base open, but you really can't do anything with Pujols. You see what he's done with runners in scoring position, 390, because there's no break after that. You've got Jim Edmonds, a left-handed batter, coming up, and then Larry Walker. So this is a very potent part of the Cardinals lineup.
And you know what? Not only is he hitting very well in the scoring position, but he's #1 in the National League with game-winning RBIs with 11. So these are situations in which he thrives.
The 2-2. He reaches out and grounds it back to Pavano. That was ball 3, but took a hack at the pitch low and away, so Pavano gets a big out as Gutsalonic stays put at second.
And you know, as good as Pujols is, you know, rarely do you see him do this, but he's human. I mean, this is a tough pitch. He's got 2 strikes. And in his mind, too close to take. And ideally, as a hitter, you hope you just foul this pitch off to get another one. But he hit it in foul territory, and he's upset. I mean, this guy always wants to drive into big runs. You see him pacing in the dugout.
Now Pavano against Edmonds. Thought about bunting. Takes a pitch outside.
And see, that's the last thing Tony La Russa wants to see is Edmonds get a bunt right here. This guy can drive in a big run. He hits for power. You know, you got guys behind him, too. Don't leave it to Walker and Sanders when you can swing the bat the way you can swing it. You know, you're not Grizzolano, you're not Eckstein up there. You're a guy who can really hit the baseball and hit it a long way.
A 1-0. Foul back. Count 1-1. Edmonds grounded to second in the second and then doubled down the left field line in the fourth. Pujols still pacing. Likely upset with himself over offering that pitch low and away. But it did have a drop to it. Maybe it didn't look like that when it came out of his hand. That's the hard part of hitting. You have to process all that information in a nanosecond. Count 2-1.
You know, that bunt attempt reminded me of a story I remember. Similar situation back in the early 90s. I laid down a bunt, actually a successful bunt against the Dodgers. And I get down to first base, and Eddie Murray, the Hall of Famer, was the first baseman. He said, "Hey, kid, you think all these people showed up to see you bunt today?" You think all these people today showed up to see Jim Edmonds bunt in this situation? Absolutely not.
And the count now 3-1. Hitting .310 with runners in scoring position, but he slumped of late. 2 hits in his last 16 at-bats. And the pitch. There's a strike. Good pitch on a 3-1. Didn't give in. Threw it right on the black of the inside corner. 3-2.
And you know, you have 3-1, you're looking for your pitch. This isn't the pitch that he wanted. You see his ball kind of tail back over the inside corner. But he still has to make a pitch right here.
(3-2). Tried to make the same pitch. That one a little bit farther inside, and a walk.
Well, you take a look at this pitch by pitch. Edmonds with the fake bunt. But then now he stays away. It looks like a fastball. Then he comes back with the split finger over outer part of the plate. Now another split finger. And you know, now he comes inside. He's moving it in and out. And he tries to come to the same pitch and left it a little bit too far inside. But you saw Pavano. He's pitching, moving it in and out and mixing up the speeds.
It doesn't get any easier now with Larry Walker. And he goes with a fastball high. Crowd here at Busch Stadium, 50,372. As Neil Allen continues to wait for the phone to ring. And the 3-game total is the largest 3-game total in Busch Stadium history. 150,799, and they've seen at least 2 very good games. And if you're a Cardinal fan, I guess you enjoyed Friday. Standing room only today, and those are way up there. You've seen a dandy on a Sunday afternoon in St. Louis. 1-1 game, runners on first and second, 1 out. We're in the bottom of the 6th inning. Larry Walker at the plate, but Pavano steps off.
And this is a big pitch. You know, you got to commit to whatever it is. You got 2-0 to a guy who can drive the ball with men in scoring position.
The 2-0. 3-0, 1 pitch away from loading the bases. 90 pitches for Pavano, 53 strikes.
Well, he's trying to pitch Larry Walker inside, but he can't get that corner like he did against Jim Edmonds.
Do they green light Walker?
Absolutely.
There's a strike. Just because you get green lighted does not mean you have to swing. You want a pitch that you could drive. So just because he took it doesn't mean that he didn't have the green light. Now he's on his own on 3-1 for sure. And he hits Walker, and the bases are loaded.
And you can see the way he approached that at bat. Larry Walker had a double in his first at bat on a pitch out over the plate to left field. And that at bat, he said, I'm not going to give him anything good out over the plate. I want to try to pitch him in. This particular pitch is too far in. It hits Larry Walker, but that's the way he was trying to pitch him in this at bat. He just was not able to locate the inner half of the strike zone.
Well, Mel Stoudemire will go out and stall, and Mike Stanton will get up alongside Paul Quantrill.
And you know, this at bat will be very interesting because to see if Reggie Sanders makes the adjustment, and also to see if Pavano stays with the same game plan that he's had thus far of pitching Reggie Sanders fastballs hard inside. Reggie Sanders has not been able to catch up to the fastball inside.
Well, every time a Yankee pitcher strikes out an opposing batter, the Tri-State Hyundai dealers help strike out kids' cancer by making a donation to the Hope and Heroes Children's Cancer Fund and the Morgan Stanley Children's Hospital of New York. If you would like to contribute along with the Tri-State Hyundai dealers, call 212-305-1420 and let's strike out children's cancer. Grutzelanix at third, Edmonds at second, Walker at first. And he does go inside to Sanders and gets a strike.
And Reggie Sanders, he did not like that call. He thought it was too far in off the plate.
Good numbers lifetime in these situations. Sanders 0 for 2 today. Flied to center and struck out.
And see, right now I can tell you Reggie Sanders is thinking, that ball, do I have to cover this pitch that's 2 or 3 inches inside? Because once they call that pitch and you feel like you got to hit it, now it plays tricks on your own mind.
Now this is an absolutely gigantic part of the game because the Cardinals have a very good bullpen, and Tony La Russa will use every single one of them, mixing and matching, lefty righty. That's what he's about, and all he wants is to get a lead going into the 7th inning, which is what would happen if they could push across a run here. Let's see if they turn 2. There's 1. And there's 2. Pavano got just what he needed. 6-4-3. And Larry Walker really went hard into Robinson Cano. But Cano gets up at second base after firing a strike to Jason Giambi. A huge double play for Carl Pavano, who's waiting right along the third baseline to congratulate Cano for this, because he hung in there against Walker to complete the 6-4-3 double play. No runs a hit. 2 men left. We go to the 7th. It's a good one. 1-1. Well, they say it's the pitcher's best friend, David, and that was Carl Pavano's best friend, that double play.
Oh, yes, it was. This ball was hit very hard to Derek Jeter. That's the only way you're going to get Reggie Sanders. But as you see, Robinson Cano hangs in there with Larry Walker, who's got a lot of speed, bearing down on him. Outstanding play by the young kid.
And while he was turning the double play, Alex Rodriguez jumped about 3 feet in the air at third base celebrating. Yankees really want this game. They played the game hard. They played the game crisp. And now they'll do it against another pitcher. Matt Morris is done. The IO Digital Cable scoreboard has a 1-1 game as Tony La Russa has turned the pitching duties over to Al Reyes. Impressive get-out-of-jam ability by Pavano. Jeter squares the bunt, takes a strike from Reyes, 0-1. Reyes has a great ERA, only 15 hits in 25 innings, and more strikeouts than innings pitched. Good strikeout to walk ratio as well. Pitch is outside, 1-1. So he's got to deal with the top of the Yankee order, Jeter, Womack, and A-Rod. Jeter's 1 for 3 today, singled in the first inning on the first pitch that he saw. Line down the left field line. It is a fair ball and goes into the corner. Jeter rounds first. He'll go to second. Sanders comes up throwing, but not in time. It's a leadoff double for Derek Jeter here in the seventh.
And see, now is the time for them to play small ball. Now, and as you see this pitch right here, it's a fastball right over the middle of the plate. And, well, actually a little bit middle in, and Derek stays down. You see the extension and drives it down the left field line. But this is where you love to have a guy like Tony Womack hitting second, because you can do so many things with him. And he's a left-handed hitter, so you can ask him to try to pull one to the right side or lay down a bunt. But this is where the Yankees have got to succeed and get better at, is playing this type of baseball.
Bunted straight up in the air, and Molina makes the catch. That is not what they wanted Tony Womack to do. That is an abject failure to get the run over.
And see, when you're playing the good teams, you only get so many opportunities to score, that when you do get that opportunity, you have to make them pay. You have to take advantage of it. It's a situation where you want to get a bunt down, and Tony just doesn't get it down. He doesn't come through this time, and now you're making the job of scoring this run just a little bit more tough on you.
Well, now at this point, you have to get a hit. If you could move the runner over, there's so many ways you could do it.
That's right. Or you can allow Jeter to take an opportunity, if he can, still third. But I don't think that'll happen for a couple reasons. One is they're going to hold him very close. You see Grisolonic over towards second base, as well as the arm strength of Molina.
Molina has thrown out 55% of base stealers this year, so he's tough to steal on. Here's A-Rod. He's driven in the Yankees' only run today. Breaking ball is upstairs from Reyes, and the count 1-0. Left-hander Ray King throwing in the bullpen. You might see him to face Matsui. And Matsui's on deck. Pitch is inside, 2-0. They've got first base open, so they're not going to give A-Rod anything terribly great to hit. And A-Rod has good numbers against Reyes. You've got the lefty ready to go against Matsui if you want to make that change. So the wheels are turning as Tanyan Sturts begins to throw again. Swings at the 2-0 pitch and lofts it down the right field line. Walker gives it a look, but it's out of play. A-Rod grounded to first in the first, grounded to short in the third, then the RBI double to left field in the fifth. Just a hot shot right down the line. Now Mabry is deep at third again, and I'd say about 10 feet off the line. Maybe a little less. One 7-0 for the Yankees, 1-6-1 for the Cardinals. Top of the seventh inning. Trying to keep Jeter close at second. Now the arms in the outfield. Reggie Sanders has a pretty good arm in left. Not great, an average left fielder's arm. Edmonds, great arm in center. Larry Walker, an outstanding arm in right. So a single is not an automatic to score Jeter. 2-1. Strike, 2-2.
See the fastball in the inside corner. A-Rod didn't like it, thought it was inside. Very similar reaction to Reggie Sanders.
Having an extended conversation with Bill Miller. And the crowd of over 50,000 saying, all right, let's go. If you joined us late, we're working with just 3 umpires because Darryl Cousins behind the plate felt ill, and they took him out in the 5th inning. Strike three, outside corner. A-Rod down looking. 2 away.
Here's the pitch-by-pitch sequence. It starts him out with a breaking ball with the outer part of the plate for a ball. Comes back with another breaking ball. He has first base open, so there's no problem walking him. Another breaking ball. Now he comes with the hard stuff inside. That pitch A-Rod didn't like. And then a fastball, which is a much better pitch to hit. But I think A-Rod was affected by the previous pitch. Still on his mind, maybe thinking Reyes will come inside, and he takes one that's a much better pitch for him to hit.
Well, Dave Duncan now goes to the bullpen, obviously under orders of Tony La Russa. He brings in the left-hander Ray King. That'll be King, the lefty, against Matsui, the lefty, with a runner on second. You come on bat. Ray King, and as we mentioned before, one of the strengths of this team is the bullpen. Ray King, a specialty lefty, more hits than innings pitched. Walks too many guys, but he can get you the strikeout and handles lefties very well. In fact, the bullpen has allowed just 12 earned runs over the last 55 innings for a 1.96 ERA, and that covers a span of 19 games. See what Matsui has done against left-handers, actually better than he is against right-handers. And he would like to celebrate his 31st birthday here with a big hit. He's 0 for 3 so far today. Jeter's at second. He led off the inning with a double. Womack failed in a bunt attempt, and A-Rod struck out looking. King deals outside. They actually made a move in the bullpen today. They had 3 lefties out there: Randy Flores, Ray King, and Gabe White. They sent Gabe White down to the minors, and they activated Cal Eldred, who's been on the DL with an inflammation around his heart. And there's a strike. So they carry 5 righties and 2 lefties. La Russa is notorious for using his bullpen, slowing down games. And he started that when he was with the Oakland Athletics. He's the one who actually turned Dennis Eckersley into a 1-inning relief pitcher. Line drive to right field. That's a base hit. Walker charges. Jeter rounds third. Here's the throw. Here's the play at the plate. He's safe. The ball gets away from Molina. It's a big base hit for Hideki Matsui as he moves to second, and the Yankees take a 2-1 lead.
Well, he had the big hit yesterday against Mark Mulder. He comes back today against Ray King, another lefty, and drives it. As you see Larry Walker set up with that tremendous arm strength to make a throw home to try to get Jeter. Nice slide by Jeter. The ball gets past the catcher, but this is a big-time, big situation hit by Hideki Matsui.
Molina looked like he tried to trip Jeter.
Well, he tried to block the plate. What he's trying to do is block the plate, because he has a play in front of him. Now, Jeter's trying to score. Molina has a play coming. He knows Jeter's coming. He's trying to do something to block it. And see, that's one thing. You know, you see him try to kick his leg out.
Right.
That's one of the reasons why guys run over catchers, because you can kick at a guy, you can spike him, you know, you can do something to hurt a guy running in there. You see, remember Erstad ran over Estrada in Atlanta. Erstad of the Angels. As you see right here, when he kicks out right there, you never know. That cleat can kick Jeter in the ankle or something. He's trying to block the plate. Very similar to Erstad when he scored in Atlanta. They were upset because he ran over Estrada. But you know what? When you're talking about a close play at home, some guys feel better just going ahead and trying to pound through home plate. Other guys have the ability to slide around. See, some guys don't even have the ability to make those slides around home plate. See, that's one thing they never talked about with Erstad. Maybe he doesn't know how to slide around. What Jeter does, Jeter showed that he can do it.
Pitch to Bernie is upstairs.
But a lot of catchers do many different things. I remember Mike Scioscia with the Los Angeles Dodgers. You had to run him over. He would just lay on the plate. He was every bit of 250, give or take 10, and you would have to run him over. And there's some guys that won't block it at all.
Now, the play that David's talking about, Darren Erstad tried to score against the Braves and just completely lowered his shoulder and plowed over Estrada and knocked him out of the game for a couple of days. And now he's back. But the next day, Horacio Ramirez, the pitcher for the Braves, actually threw behind Darren Erstad as payback for running into Estrada. Line drive right at the third baseman, Mabry. So Bernie hit it right on the screws. Wanted to give the Yankees a 3-1 lead, but Mabry was right there. But the Yankees do get the go-ahead run. Matsui with the hit to right field. Larry Walker comes up throwing. Derek Jeter comes in running. He scores. Yankees lead 2-1. Thank you, Bob. As we go to the bottom of the 7th inning, the Yankees are leading 2-1 on the Hideki Matsui RBI single. The IO Digital Cable scoreboard has 2 runs on 8 hits for the Yankees, 1 6 and 1 for the Cardinals. And the Yankees now will try to mix and match out of their bullpen the final 3 innings as they bring in Tanyan Sturtz. Hey, fans, get a second chance to see the latest game with WB Mason Presents Yankees Encore. It's only on Yes. Tune in every night or the next morning at 9 for the big hits and great plays. Another time around, don't miss WB Mason Presents Yankees Encore, only on Yes. See Sturtz and what he's done. And he's done a lot. He has become their 7th inning man. The 18 strikeouts to 2 walks, outstanding. Less than a hit per inning. And he's done a nice job.
And this has become a battle of the bullpen. And, you know, this is the area right here where I believe it is the most important area for the Yankees, because I think the starting pitching will come around. And this is the area to me that is so important because it's the area where you bridge the gap to get to Mariano Rivera. Tanyan Sturtz has done a nice job, though, in this role.
1 point, you just heard Bob Lorenz as Tino Martinez comes in to play first base, and that's a double switch. It's probably not a double switch. It's not, because Giambi still drew up the first batter in the 8th inning, so they couldn't have switched anything like that. They're just bringing in Tino for defense. It's as simple as that. Anyway, it bears pointing out, you just heard Bob Lorenz say that the Orioles lost. So if the Yankees win this game, the Yankees will be 5 games behind the Orioles. Do you know how many games out the Yankees were at the beginning of this road trip? 4. And they could not have played worse than they played, and they would have lost 1 game, having lost 8 out of 12 on the road trip. So the Orioles and the Red Sox have not taken advantage. Sturtz gets Mabry to hit it right back to the pitcher's mound, 1 away. So here's Yadier Molina. He was 2 for 2 against Pavano. So Pavano, 2nd straight strong outing for him. He lost the last one 2-1. He's leading this one 2-1. Sturtz deals. Strike. Good hard fastball upstairs, 94 miles an hour. The Yankees have a little bit of a different bullpen configuration today than they normally do. We told you that Sturtz is the 7th inning guy. Well, he might have to be the 8th inning guy as well. Kim Jones on our pregame show here on Yes told you that Tom Gordon is probably not available. Tom Gordon, not Tom Jones. That's not unusual. It was a comebacker back to the mound yesterday off the bat of David Eckstein, and Gordon put up his bare hand and it got him on the finger. A play similar to that. So Molina is now 3 for 3. And here's the injury, which will probably keep Gordon out of this game.
Well, it's a comebacker right at him. As you see, he's basically playing defense. You know, not wanting to get hit in the face, and unfortunately it hit off his finger and caused some discomfort and made him basically not available for this game.
So they'll have to get the 3 innings out of Sturtz and Rivera. Maybe Rivera gets 5 outs. Sturtz gets 4, or the other way around. Here's Scott Seaball pinch hitting for Morris, and he hits one deep to left field. Going back, Womack looking up. See ya! A two-run pinch hit home run for Scott Seibel, and the Cardinals lead the Yankees 3-2. And that is Scott Seibel's first major league home run, and it's a big one.
Well, Tanya Sturts is trying to get ahead with a fastball so he can work that split finger and that slider, and Scott Seibel does not allow it. It's a fastball on the inner half of the plate. It's his first major league home run.
Got to be a thrill for him as he gets a curtain call. So now all the machinations and the bullpen maneuverings, now it takes on a different look. As the Yankees are trying to save a game now, they're trying to keep it right here. Pitch to Eckstein, grounded up the middle, a base hit.
Well, as you see, he gets a fastball, and it's a no-doubter as soon as he hit it that it was a home run.
David, during our scouting report right at the beginning of the game, told you that Carl Pavano does not get good bullpen support from the Yankees, and Scott Seibel's curtain call is an indication of that. Now Tony La Russa comes out toward first base, and he wants to talk to David Eckstein himself. That's very odd. I guess he thinks he's hurt, wants him to see if he can run out whatever problems he might have. Maybe he had a cramp, and La Russa noticed that. So La Russa said, okay, you're in there. Anyway, getting back to the bullpen support or lack thereof, David. The bullpen 5.08 in Pavano starts, and he's lost 2 leads coming into this game where he was the pitcher of record on the winning side as Mike Stanton begins to throw. So this is the 3rd one that the bullpen has blown for him.
And it's very frustrating for Pavano because he pitched very well in his last outing. He was great today. And, you know, you need something to build a confidence, but you also need wins. And he was 1 game under 500 and 4-5 coming in. You know, wanting to get back to that 5-5 mark.
Deep drive to center field. Going back, Bernie Williams will make the play on the warning track. Eckstein was all the way to second. He'll hustle back to first. So 2 away. They're really hitting Tanya Sturts.
One thing for sure, Tanya's not fooling anyone. He's throwing a lot of fastballs. And, you know, this is a good fastball hitting team. As you see Bernie get a beat on this and make the play. But this is a good fastball hitting team. You know, and in the National League, they're so accustomed to first pitch fastballs anyway. And that's what Tanya's been doing. He's not necessarily, you know, mixing his pitches very well.
Also, you mentioned good fastball hitters. If he tries to sneak a fastball by Albert Pujols, it'll be 5-2.
And so you have to remember, when a new pitcher comes into the game, everyone looks up to see what he has or to see if they can see some type of pattern. Well, if you're sitting over there and you see a lot of first pitch fastballs, then you go up there and you look for a first pitch fastball. Scott Seibel hit a first pitch fastball a long way.
And the pitch to Pujols is a strike.
And a first pitch fastball. But, you know, that's Tanyan's game, you know. The thing is just not necessarily throwing quality strikes, but his game is to get ahead with the fastball. I mean, he throws 93, 94, he can get up to 95. But it's all about location.
Eckstein goes, and he'll still second without a throw. And I wonder if that whole La Russa talk was a ruse to make the Yankees think that he was hurt. And you can't put that beyond Tony La Russa. He would do that.
Hey, you hear about crafty veterans? He's a crafty manager.
He's 4 wins away from 4th place lifetime on the all-time managerial win list, so he's been around a long time. The 0-2, 1-2. If Sturts loses Pujols, then that forces Torrey to get Stanton to face Edmonds. And the count 2-2. Two-two. Low, 3-2. Great fastball hitter against a pitcher with a real good fastball. Runner at second base, 2 outs. We're in the bottom of the 7th inning. St. Louis leads 3-2. A great ball game on a Sunday afternoon at Busch Stadium in St. Louis. The 3-2 walked him. And now Joe Torre has to mix and match. So he's going to call on Mike Stanton. So the left-hander Stanton will come on a very big spot. Yankees are trailing by 1. They've had trouble scoring runs. It's Stanton against Edmonds, 1st and 2nd. Come on back. Well, the Yankees bring in Mike Stanton. He has not had a great start to a season. This is his 22nd game. He has a bloated ERA, more hits than innings pitched, a strikeout an inning, and he's walked 5, and he has to face a very difficult Jim Edmonds. Fans, if you have tickets to see the Yankees and the Cubs on Saturday, June 18th, the Yankees are asking that you arrive at the stadium early. It's Military Appreciation Day, and there's a comprehensive pregame program planned, which includes a performance by the Army's Golden Knights parachute team and a flyover from 2 U.S. Navy jets. The ceremonies will begin at 2:15 with the Yankees against the Cubs game to follow at 3:15. So if you have tickets to the Yankees against the Cubs game on Saturday, June 18th, please be sure to arrive early. That's how hot it is here in St. Louis, just shading himself from the sun. And Tanyan Sturts just trying to cool down. Big moment in the game. Yankees are trailing by 1, 3-2 in the bottom of the 7th inning. 1st and 2nd for the Cardinals. Jim Edmonds against Mike Stanton. Edmonds 1 for 2 with a walk. Stanton gets the ball there, will be in good shape, David. There's a strike. 2 good pitches by Stanton. One on the outside corner, one on the inside corner. Now, as a hitter, what do you look for?
Well, as a hitter, you're on the defensive. You're 0-2. I mean, you just have to protect. And if I'm Stanton, I'm throwing something out of the strike zone, maybe down, to see if I can get him to chase.
The 0-2. That's what he did, and Edmonds didn't chase, held up in the count 1-2. Same approach here on 1-2.
If I'm Stanton, what I want to do here is you see this pitch. Stanton really wanted this. It's a little down. Well, yeah, I'm giving him something off the outer part of the play. He's got to beat me away. I don't want to mess around with the inside part of the play with Edmonds, especially with that power, because if you miss, he can hit it a long way.
Again, he tries it low and away. Good block by Posada, and the count now 2-2. Another left-handed batter, Larry Walker, is on deck.
And see, another thing, now that's 2 breaking balls in a row. To good hitters, you want to be careful, repeating a certain pitch every time, because now you're allowing him to time that breaking ball. Good hitters, you throw them 3 pitches, the same pitches in a row. That third one, they have a tendency to hit it pretty hard.
Well, Jim Cotter, our colleague, always says if you're going to throw 3 breaking balls in a row, each one has to be better than the next one. He said because if it takes a step back, as you said, you're timing it, you know the speed, you know the break.
Right, all good hitters, you throw them the same pitch 3 times in a row. I mean, you have just allowed them to read the speed, the bend of the pitch, and they'll be ready for that third one. Now here you have a situation where it's not beyond Mike Stanton to throw another breaking ball.
3-2, 2 outs. Runners will be going. The payoff. Line to right field, giving chase is Matsui. He cannot get there. It dunks in for a base hit. Matsui smothers the ball. 1 run scores. They're going to send Pujols. Here's the throw. Here's the play. He's safe. He got in ahead of the tag. And moving to third is Edmonds. St. Louis leads 5-2.
And Mike Stanton got himself in a situation where now he had to come to Jim Edmonds. As I said, I want to stay with the inside part of the play with him. He gets a fastball inside, and he drives it to right. And with the runners on the move, everyone is already going, so there's a better chance of Pujols scoring at home. If this was a 2-2 pitch, there's no chance. As you see, Pujols gets the leg in time before Posada's tag. You see Posada's tag right there is up around the Pujols' number. His leg's already in. Matsui seems to be hurt out in right field.
Looked like his leg gave out from under him. Maybe he turned an ankle, David, as he was trying to pursue that ball, because he did go down and barely got up to get the throw into Cano. And they look like they're checking his ankle. Let's see if we can see anything.
Yeah, it's the right ankle right there when he gets it underneath his body. He may have twisted it. You see the original slip right there on the right leg, but right there. Like he rolled over that right ankle a little bit.
And they're going to take Matsui off the field with an arm around Gene Monahan. And Joe Torre holding him up with the other hand. It's hard to see what happened when that leg went underneath him, but you would assume that the ankle turned.
That's where it looked like he may have rolled over it. The initial slip was with that right ankle, but as he got it folded underneath himself, that's where it looked like he may have got it in an awkward position. Just maybe a little slight. He's walking fine, so you see the initial, see right there.
Right
you
there.
see the slip, but right there is where it looks like he may have twisted a little bit. But the fact that he can walk off the field lets you know that it's not a serious thing.
Remember, the Yankees have an off day tomorrow, so that gives it some time to heal before they play the Pirates. And they're going to send Russ Johnson out to play right field. And Matsui is also walking down the steps, so again, that's a decent sign. So Russ Johnson will take over for Matsui in right. They'll give him some throws in the outfield just to get loose. And another big batter for Mike Stanton. He's got to face Larry Walker with a runner on third base.
And you know, when you look back at that inning, you had Pujols 0-2, you had Jim Edmonds 0-2, and weren't able to put either one of them away. And you got yourself in a position where you had to come to them, and they made you pay for it. Pujols had the walk, but you had to come to Edmonds. You came inside to his strength, and he made him pay.
And it started with Tanyan Sturtz coming on to try to hold the lead until they could get it to Mariano Rivera, and it's all gone downhill as the Yankees have allowed 4 runs to score here in the 7th. Still 2 outs, runner at third. Swing and a miss by Walker, in the count 0-1. Along with David Justice, I'm Michael Kay. You're watching Yankees baseball right here on the Yes Network. We thank you for joining us on this Sunday afternoon. Cardinals lead the Yankees 5-2 in the rubber game of this 3-game set here in the bottom of the 7th inning. And a bunt. Stanton fields and fires to first. That it's hard to understand. And that'll do it here in the 7th. But 4 runs on 4 hits, no errors, and 1 man left. Scott Seaball, a former Yankee, actually had 1 at bat for the Yankees in 2001, puts the Cardinals ahead. They lead 5. Time to take a look at the Yankees in-game box score as we head to the 8th inning. And it's sponsored by your Tri-State Lincoln Mercury dealer. The Yankees have 8 hits, 2 by Derek Jeter, and the rest liberally spread up and down the lineup. RBI by Alex Rodriguez, a double. Hideki Matsui, an RBI. And that seemed huge at the time to give the Yankees a 2-1 lead, but they could not hold it, giving up 4 runs in the bottom of the 7th inning. That's where we stand right now in front of a full house here at Busch Stadium, an all-time 3-game record here at Busch. And the Cardinals are leading 5-2 in the rubber game of this 3-game set. And they turn over the pitching duties to Julian Taveras. Gave up a run yesterday in a late inning appearance, and now he'll face Tino Martinez, Jorge Posada, and Robinson Cano. Abraham Nunez has come on to play third base for John Mabry. Nunez a much better defender than Mabry. So Tony La Russa setting up his troops for the last 2 innings. And pitch to Tino. Ground ball to second base. Grutzelanek. 1 away. Tino on Friday was booed very, very loudly. He's being booed as he runs off the field right now. And I spoke to him before the game. He said, I was really shocked. He said, I thought it would be half and half. He said, but I was really, really surprised. He said, I didn't want to show them that I was surprised because that makes them just boo louder. And he was touched by the words of Tony La Russa after yesterday's game. He said, that's just not the way these fans should behave. He said, that guy didn't perform up to his capabilities here. He said, but not because he didn't want to. It hurt him more than it hurt them watching him do it. And for them to boo him, he said, that shouldn't be the way a Cardinal fan behaves. So I think a lot of the Cardinals were taken back at the viciousness, because you just don't see that type of reaction here in St. Louis.
You never see it. You would think that Tino had done something, very bad here. And yeah, right, he didn't perform to expectations, but Tino's one of the best guys ever put on a uniform. Any uniform in all of baseball. I mean, and you're right. And you know what? Them booing him is something so out of the ordinary with these fans, because they're some of the best fans ever that are in the game. So, it's unfortunate, but hey, it's only a 3-game series, and Tino's out of here today.
That's probably the way he looks at it. Posada with a deep drive to right center field. That ball is going to go. See ya! A solo home run for Jorge Posada as the Yankees inch closer. Cardinals now lead 5-3. On an 0-2 pitch, his 8th home run of the year.
And the Yankees are letting them know this game is not over. We still have outs. We still have some innings still to play, and we're going to keep on battling here. As you look at this pitch, I mean, this is a fastball right out over the plate. He drives this out of center field.
Here's Robinson Cano. Pitch is outside. 423 feet. That's how far Posada's ball traveled. And there's a strike. Posada 2 hits today. Popped up. Molina in fair territory, 2 away. Hey, later tonight, don't miss a night of great premieres on Yes. First at 9, it's an all-new Bex Presents Center Stage with Emmy Award-winning sportscaster Dick Enberg. Then at 10, you have to catch the premiere of Yankeeography, Greg Nettles, featuring a look at the legendary all-star third baseman. The night of great premiere starts tonight at 9, only on Yes. And there's going to be a pinch hitter now. And Ruben Sierra will pinch hit. And they do get up Tom Gordon in the bullpen. So I guess his finger's feeling a lot better.
Well, you know, they probably asked him, how do you feel? And, you know, Tom Gordon wanted to be a part of everything. You know, he's going to tell him, I mean, if he can throw anything, he's going to go out there and pitch.
Ruben Sierra had a huge brace around his neck, a heated brace on before the game. Asked him what was going on. He said, slept poorly on the pillows in the hotel. And I said, can you play? And he looked at me and said, I'm a man. I'll play. And now he steps out as Gene Monahan will tend to him.
And, you know, whenever you get that, you sleep wrong on a pillow as a left-hander, well, he's a switch hitter, but you just hope that it's the side that you can look over your shoulder. Because, I mean, I've had it before, too, where, fortunately, there are times in which it's on the wrong side because I'm not a right-handed hitter. So it'll be the left side of my neck.
That's okay.
That would be okay.
Right.
But if it's on the side you can hit, you can't even turn your head, you know, toward the pitcher, so you can't hit.
Oh, whatever was in Ruben's eye, Gene Monahan took care of it. Now we're ready. Sierra's pinch hitting for Mike Stanton. St. Louis 5, the Yankees 3. And the count 1-1. The Yankees will see Jason Isringhausen in the 9th inning. He's the Cardinal closer. Line down the left field line, but foul. Remember, the Yankees are 0-29 when they trail after 8 innings. The 1-2 outside, 2-2. Gordon looks like he's ready. Swing and a miss. Like he got him on the change for the final out of the 8th inning. Yankees get a run on 1 hit, no errors, and nobody left on base. The 1 hit off the bat of Jorge Posada. Sierra strikes out to end the 8th. That is the new stadium. It'll be open next year. And they're getting the wrecking ball ready for this one, but it will not be used until 20 days after the final game played here at Busch Stadium. They just set a record for this 3-game series against the Yankees. Over 150,000 fans for these 3. Tom Gordon comes on to a 5-3 St. Louis lead, bottom of the 8th inning. 4th pitcher used by the Yankees. There's a ground ball. Diving stop by A-Rod. Gets to his feet, bobbles, fires, got him. And A-Rod's arm saved him an E5 there.
Well, this is a nice play. Reggie Sanders hits his ball pretty hard in the hole, and A-Rod with that 6'4" frame reaches out, and you see the little bobble, but he's got that great arm.
Here's Nunez, and he squares the bunt, but takes a breaking ball for a strike on the outside corner, 0-1. Gordon's numbers are outstanding. And remember, he started off poorly, so he's got the average or the ERA down to 2.79. Blistering fastball upstairs. And the closer for the Cardinals, Jason Isringhausen, getting ready. A strike and the count 1-2. If you look ahead to the ninth inning against Isringhausen, the Yankees have Jeter, Womack, and A-Rod coming up. And after that, Russ Johnson, because remember, Matsui was taken out of the game when he turned his right ankle. Gordon bounces that one, the count 2-2. Checks his swing, and the count goes full at 3-2. Serve down the left field line, but it'll slice foul into the seats. Little wind whipping up here at Busch Stadium. The flags in the outfield flapping from left to right. There was some rain in the forecast, but it's a beautiful day. Some puffy clouds overhead, otherwise beautiful blue skies. Something to make Yankee fans happy. They get themselves a souvenir. Right back to Gordon. 2-away. Nunez upset after a long battle, and that'll bring up Yadier Molina, who's had a good day. 3 for 3, a double, 2 singles, 2 runs scored. Productive day for the kid. He got 2 baseballs. Get one in the pocket. There you go. Swing and a miss. Cardinals, a contending team looking to win a championship, trying to do it with a very young catcher. Molina's just 22 years old. Grounded right back to Gordon, and he has a good inning. 1, 2, 3, the Cardinals go down in order. But now the Yankee offense has to do something against the closer for the Cardinals, Jason Isringhausen. Jeter will start it off. Jeter, Womack, and A-Rod when we get back in the top of the ninth. Well, the Yankees, if they have a rally in their bones, going to have to do it against one of the better relievers in baseball, Jason Isringhausen. So Taguchi has taken over in left field for Reggie Sanders, and that means that he will bat ninth. Jason Isringhausen comes on.
And you see just the 14 hits in 19 innings. He doesn't give up a lot of hits. This guy has got a very good fastball and a big curveball.
Well, can the Yankees come back and end what has been an awful road trip on a positive note? It'll be tough, as Jeter will start it off. Line drive on one hop to Grudzielanek. 1 pitch, 1 out. This has not been a great weekend for Joe Torre. Off the field, it's been great. He's seen some old friends. Got a nice ovation actually on the field here on Saturday. But losing 2 out of 3 was not his idea of coming into St. Louis and celebrating. There's a strike to Womack. Randy Johnson, the one bright spot. He was brilliant yesterday over 7, throwing 93 pitches, not allowing a run. Possibly his best outing. That might be the highlight of the whole road trip. And the count is 0-2 on Womack. Womack's 1 for 4 today. And the pitch. Swing and a miss. The tag by Molina, and the Yankees are 1 out away. Hey fans, get a second chance to see the latest game with WB Mason Presents Yankees Encore. It's only on Yes. Tune in every night or the next morning at 9 for the big hits and great plays another time around. Don't miss WB Mason Presents Yankees Encore, only on Yes. So that leaves it up to Alex Rodriguez, what's left of a crowd of 50,372, most of them standing. A-Rod's 1 for 4. Fouled straight back. Isringhausen throwing nothing but strikes. The Yankees lose this game, they would have gone 3-9 on this 12-game road trip. Ground ball up the middle, diving stop by Eckstein, gets to his feet, fires, got him, and the Cardinals win the game 5-3. Jason Isringhausen works a 1-2-3, and Joe Torre heads back to New York wondering what went wrong on the road. When the Yankees left on this 2-week, 4-city, 12-game road trip, none of them could have even imagined that things would have gone this poorly. They lost all 4 series. They went 3-9, and Tony La Russa is the manager that's celebrating today, not Joe Torre. Hard to believe, but we'll try to break it down when we get back. We'll give out the awards. We'll try to make some rhyme or reason out of 3-9, if it's at all possible. You come on back. Yankees lose this one 5-3. Yankees lose a tough one to the Cardinals 5-3. Let's take a look now at the play of the game, which is presented by Geico.
1 to 7th inning. The first pitch that Scott Siebel sees on Tayon Sturts hits it a long way for the 2-run home run. It was the difference in the game. His first Major League home run. That's Geico's play of the game.
And from a former Yankee minor leaguer who actually had 1 at bat for the Yankees. 5-10-1 Cardinals, 3-9-0 Yankees. Ray King gets the win. Tayon Sturts took the loss. Isringhausen is 18th save. Time of the game, an unmanageable 3-10. Posada solo home run, his 8th of the year. And Yadier Molina 3 for 4 with 2 runs scored. So the Cardinals celebrate. Who gets to celebrate even more when they get named player of the game? We'll find out when we get. Hey, it's time for the Chevy player of the game. ChevyOffers.com, the latest offers from Chevrolet.
And it's none other than the young St. Louis Cardinals catcher, Yadier Molina. You see the leadoff double, which led to a run in the 3rd inning. Swung the bat very well today. As you see right there, he scores. Yadier Molina, our player of the game.
This is the arch right outside the ballpark, the gateway to the west, but the Yankees, they are heading east back home, and they'll be licking their wounds because they were 3-9 on this road trip. How does that impact the standings? Not as much as you would think. When they left 2 weeks ago, they were 4 games behind. So they lost just 2 games in the standings. So if you're looking for a silver lining, and it's tough, that's your silver lining. The Yankees 6 games behind the Orioles as they head home, and they have 100 games left in their season. Coming up on the Yes Network, stay tuned for the New York Yankees postgame show with Bob Lorenz and Kimberly Jones, featuring complete game analysis and interviews. The senior producer of the Yes Network, and today's game produced by Kevin Smolin, directed by John Moore. Studio produced by Drew Kaliski. Supervising producer Woody Fryman, and the executive producer of the Yes Network is Mr. John Filippelli. Join us again Tuesday for Yankees baseball as the Bombers take on the Pittsburgh Pirates in interleague play at Yankee Stadium in the Bronx. The coverage will begin at 6:30 right here on the Yes Network. For more on the Yes Network, go out, buy a computer, plug it in, turn it on, then log on to YesNetwork.com. Once again, the final score from Busch Stadium in St. Louis, Missouri, the St. Louis Cardinals 5 and the New York Yankees 3. We'll be back from the booth with some final thoughts. That's in just a moment. But now let's go to Bob Lorenz, who is standing by patiently in our